A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Well, Jane Ace, now a social welfare worker, is in charge of newspaper publicity to fight the city on the property that it has selected to build homes for the poor working class. She doesn't know it, but this is the property Mr. Ace hopes to sell the city. Yesterday, Jane got Marge's boyfriend, Neil Williams, newspaper reporter, to promise to print the story. This episode is in two scenes, Mr. Ace's office and the newspaper office. But first to Mr. Ace's office. He's at his desk. His secretary answers. Listen.
Oh, Mr. Ace.
Yes, Miss Wilson.
Did you see this?
What? What's that?
The boy just dropped the first edition of the Post on my desk. Did you see this headline?
Well, what is it? What are you so upset about?
It's about that property.
Let me see that. Women Fight Housing Project Location.
Clear across the top of the paper.
Oh, isn't this awful?
Yes, sir, and it says there that you're...
I see what it says. Get Mr. Marsh for me.
Mr. Marsh?
Yes, Mr. Marsh. You know his number.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, this will ruin the whole deal. This is absolutely...
It says there that Mrs. Ace is one of the women.
I know she's one of the women.
You know it and you let her do it?
Well, she doesn't know that I'm even working on this deal.
Well, if you told her you were...
No, I can't tell anybody, and don't you.
Oh, yes, sir. It's just that it seemed kind of funny to me.
I know how it seems. Well, what's the matter there? Don't they answer?
No, sir, not yet. Oh, hello? Mr. Marsh, please. Mr. Ace is calling.
Let me have it.
Just a moment, please. He says he went out a little while ago.
Went out? Well, where is he? Does she know?
Is there some place we could locate him right now? Yes, it's rather... Oh, he didn't. Just a moment, please. He didn't leave word.
Oh, all right. Have him call me as soon as he comes in.
Have him call Mr. Ace as soon as he comes in, please.
Oh, I knew this was
Yes,
going to happen the minute she got into this. If that Marsh would only listen to me.
I hate to say so, Mr. Ace, but I told you it was taking too big a risk, putting up everything you had to get the option on that property.
It's nothing of the kind. I have Mr. Marsh's word for it that the deal's going through.
But then why is his wife fighting against it, too?
Because she's interested in social betterment. He has nothing to do with what she wants to waste her time on.
Oh, and it's the same way with Mrs. Ace?
Yes, it's the same. No, they're two different cases. And please don't... Oh, Mr. Marsh, I just called your office.
Yes, I had a hunch you were.
Well, did you see... that'll be all, Miss Wilson.
Yes, sir.
See that we're not disturbed, will you, please?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Did you see this?
Of course I did. That's why I'm here.
And you're going to keep on telling me that I'm not to be disturbed over this agitation that the women are causing. I suppose...
Now, just a minute, Mr. Ace.
Oh.
I think you know as well as I do who's responsible for this getting into this paper.
Sure, I know. My wife, that social betterment group that Mrs. Marsh took her to, put her in charge of newspaper publicity, and she went right to work on it.
Yes, but I don't think Mrs. Marsh thought Mrs. Ace would get this much publicity.
She didn't say... Well, why did they put her on? Oh, what's going on here? I'm mixed up. They have a committee on publicity and then don't expect to get any? What kind of...
You quiet down and listen to me. I can explain something to you.
All right, I'm as quiet as a man can be who's put up every cent he has in the world.
I understand your feelings, and I want to assure you once more that everything will be all right.
How can you say that? Look at this.
I've seen it.
And you say everything will be all... Now, listen to this.
I've read it.
No, I just want you to listen. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. And the Post learned today that if the city has its way, the contemplated housing project will be worse than just humble. But the women of this city are not sitting idly by. So let's...
I've read every word of that. Even that cartoon of the home built on the railroad track.
Oh, yes, this. Home. That's a fine caption. Just look at that dilapidated old shack.
I still say it's coming out all right.
And I still say you've got to tell your wife to have her social workers lay off of this.
How about your telling your wife to have her friend in the newspaper lay off?
What?
I found out about that. Mrs. Marsh didn't know Mrs. Ace had a newspaper friend when she handed Mrs. Ace the publicity job.
Well, suppose Mrs. Marsh did know. She doesn't know I'm interested in this property any more than my wife does.
This is no time to split hairs, Mr. Ace. We need action.
And you want me to tell my wife I'm interested in this property and for her to stop going to the newspapers. Is that what you mean?
Not necessarily. Your wife needn't know you're interested in it at all.
But how?
How about this chap Regan?
Neil?
Yes. Is he, taxable?
What do you mean?
Well, as I understand it, he's a pretty good friend of yours and your wife.
Yes, he's a friend of Marge. You know, the young lady who
Yes,
lives...
I know. Well, I think a heart-to-heart talk with young Williams would solve all this.
Hey, that's it.
Of course.
Well, come on. What are we waiting for? He's at his office
No,
now.
I can't go. You see, I don't figure in this deal at all, being a member of the Board of City Aldermen.
Oh, yes, I forgot. That's right. Well, I'll go. I think Neil will listen to reason, especially after he hears that I put everything I've got into this
That's
thing.
the idea. Now, hurry on over.
I'll be there in no time.
There's very little time to lose.
Your paper doesn't waste any time, Neil. Why, it just seems like last night when I told you all this, and here it is in the paper.
Yes, in fact, it was only last night, Jane. How do you like it? Is it a big enough spread for you?
Be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. That's the part I like.
Be it ever so humble, Jane, not humble.
What?
It says, be it ever... Say, that's a good line at that. I'll make a note of that and use it in our next spread tomorrow. Be it ever so humble, there's no place like home. Good work, Jane.
What happened? I wasn't listening.
Well, that line you just pulled, that's my new lead for tomorrow.
Lead?
Yes, lead. Well, never mind. That's newspaper talk. You'll probably hear a lot of it around here before you're through handling the publicity for this campaign.
I will?
Yes, sir. I'm going to make a newspaper woman out of you.
All right. Oh, who drew this picture here of this house down by the railroad track?
That's a cartoon. Our cartoonist knocked that off.
Isn't it terrible looking?
No, I think it's a swell job.
No, I mean this house he drew. Imagine anybody living in a place like that. It's abdominal.
Yes. He certainly caught the spirit of the idea. I hope he's got another one up his sleeve for tomorrow.
Oh, is there going to be another one?
Sure, we've only started this campaign. And once the Post starts on a campaign, it never stops till it does a complete job. Isn't this spread a complete job, huh?
Spread? What do you mean, spread?
More newspaper talk, Jane. I mean the way the story is spread all over the front page.
Oh, spread. I see what you mean.
That's the biggest type we've got. We can't miss it for miles. That loud enough for you?
Yes, it certainly shouts from the housetops, doesn't it? That's the biggest... Oh, did you hear what I just made up? Shouts from the housetop.
Yes, I got you, Jane.
Oh, you better put that one down, too, Neil.
Well, that's
I guess I'm saying a lot of things around here that are pretty good. It's because I'm so excited about this work I'm doing. You don't know how it feels, Neil.
What?
I mean to be doing something for somebody. Like I'm doing to help the poor people get these better homes to live in. It just makes you feel good all over.
Yes, I think I understand, Jane. Something like a New Year's resolution that you find yourself really keeping.
No, not exactly New Year's resolutions. I never keep those anyhow. They just go in one year and out the other. It's more like, well, I don't know. I just can't explain it. But when I look at this cartoon, for instance, and see why the other half lives, well, I just can't...
Excuse me, Jane.
What?
Hello? Yes, this is Mr. Williams. Oh, yes, Mr. York. Big shot philanthropist, Jane.
Gillian?
Well, thank you, Mr. York. Yes, indeed. The Post always is on the side of right. Yes? Uh-huh. Well, thank you for calling. We certainly will carry on. Goodbye. There, you see that?
What happened?
Mr. York, a big charity man in town, congratulates the Post on its fight to help the poor get better housing conditions. Got to make a note of that, too, for tomorrow's spread. Great guy, York.
Yeah, but he didn't start it. I was the one who
Sure,
started.
you started the whole thing, Jane. That's right.
Yes. Neil,
Yeah?
are you going to mention my name again in tomorrow's spread?
Well, sure, if you like it, Jane.
All right. See, I said spread. I guess I am beginning to sound like a newspaper woman after all.
Excuse me, Jane. Hello, this is Williams. Who? Yeah, Mac. What's up? Yeah. What? They did? Hold it, will you? Hold on while I flash the city desk.
What is it, Neil?
I just got a flash.
Oh, well, do you want to take something for it? I mean, like...
No, that's more newspaper talk, Jane. Come on here. Come on. Hello. Get me the desk, will you? Hurry.
What happened, Neil?
Plenty. Hello, Eddie. Neil Williams. Tell him to hold page 1 for a makeover. I got a complete new lead on the housing yarn. City Hall just decided against the railroad track property. Yeah, the Post wins another one. I'm tearing off a lead right now.
What is it, Neil? What's everybody so excited
I've
about?
got time now, Jane.
Well, can't you tell me what happened? What do you mean, City Hall?
Come by me, please.
Well, the least you can do is tell me what it is.
Certainly proved today
Well, you said you wanted to make a newspaper woman out of me. Can't you tell me what happened?
that everything possible is being done.
Well, what are you writing there?
No question about the city.
Let me see. The Post won one of the quickest decisions in the history of its many campaigns late this afternoon when the mayor's office announced the railroad property had been abandoned and a new site chosen for the city's new housing project.
I better take this right in. Nope, I won't have time. Jane, pick up that phone and call for a copy boy.
A copy boy? What's that?
Pick up the phone and shout for a copy boy, that's all.
Oh, a copy boy? Is that all?
Yes.
I hope you heard me. Oh, you going to write some more?
Sure. Don't you understand, Jane? We've won. It was a quickie. It was an easy battle, Mom. I'll be home early.
Oh, you're going home now? In the middle of everything?
No, I'm not going home.
Oh, more newspaper talk, huh?
What? Yes. Don't you understand, Jane? The women have won their fight. You've won. The city has decided to build on the other property.
They did? Oh, Neil, isn't it marvelous?
That's one word for it. Now, Jane, don't bother me, please. We're making over page 1.
Making over?
Yes, this whole first page. We've got to change the story. We've got to print the news for the next edition. Oh, I won't get anything done here. I better get out there in the city room and pound out the rest of it.
Neil, can I see you a minute?
Dear.
Hey, what are you doing? Neil, wait a minute. Where are you going?
I can't stop now, Ace. I just got a flash. Wait for me here, will you?
Where's he going?
He just got a flash, dear.
A flash?
It's newspaper talk. We won.
Won? Won what?
The city decided to buy the other property.
Hey, what?
Yes, Neil just heard it over the phone. The fight's all over. They'll have their homes early. He just found out. Now the poor people are going to have a marvelous place to live in, not those old Testament houses down by the railroad track. Isn't it marvelous, dear? Dear.
What?
Isn't it marvelous? That's what he's so busy about. Well, we've both been busy, sitting here talking newspaper talk and everything. We have to print this new news. We're going to turn over a new page.
Yes, Jane, we're certainly going to turn over a new page.
It certainly does look as if our friends the Aces are about to turn over a new leaf at that. We'll learn more about this startling change when next we meet the
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield is best for you. First cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. A pair of hold-up men have been staging a series of robberies in your city. You have their description. You know their method of operation. Your job, get them.
Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of them all.
The quality contrast between Chesterfield and other leading brands is a revealing story.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands.
Yes, Chesterfield is first with premium quality in both regular and king size.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, September 6th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch at a robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Gillian. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 8:02 a.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery.
Joe, is that you?
Yeah. Did you just get in?
Yeah, a couple of minutes ago.
The last run from the stats office come in yet?
No, I called them. They said it'd be about 10. Hey, you look kind of beat.
Yeah, I had a little trouble sleeping last night.
Huh?
Went over this thing. Someplace the guys must have made a mistake. I can't figure it.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure an angle, too. Saw the skipper this morning.
What'd he say about it?
Nothing. Asked how we were doing. I told him we had a couple of things cooking. He didn't say anything. Guess he's getting plenty of heat from the front office. His pills are getting bigger.
Stomach's giving him trouble again, I guess.
Yeah, he had some this morning. Looked big enough for a horse. I never saw such big pills, Joe. He could hardly swallow them. Purple, too.
Well, 11 jobs in 3 months. All the same M.O., all the same descriptions. None of them add up to anything we can make.
Yeah. Skipper said he had a call from the insurance company that underwrote the jewelry store they hit last Thursday.
Yeah.
Said the guy was real nasty. Said if we couldn't clean it up, he was going to the police commission to get some action that way.
Robbery Friday. Who? Oh, yeah, Rod. Yeah, sure, I remember. How's it going? That's good. What? Yeah. Yeah, I guess we can come right down. All right, sure. Okay, Rod, thanks. We'll be right there. You remember Rod Nealon, the guy we nailed for robbery 5 years ago?
Nealon? Yeah, I know who you mean.
He wants to see us, says he's got some information.
Yeah?
About the guys we're after. For the past 3 months, a pair of hold-up men had been victimizing the owners of large jewelry stores and supermarkets. In each case, the descriptions of the two suspects was the same. Suspect number 1 was described as WMA, 30 to 35 years old, red hair, tall and lean. Suspect number 2 was described as WMA, 25 to 30 years old, 5'7", 120 pounds. Victims reported that the larger of the two bandits had a slight stutter, but neither of them had any visible marks or scars. In each instance, the method of operation the bandits used was the same. The two men would enter the store at about 10 a.m. The smaller of the two thieves would ask to use the telephone. He'd go to the rear of the store, and there he would produce a .32 caliber automatic. The other man would pull a sawed-off shotgun, and together, the two of them would tape the victim's hands and feet and lock them in a rear room. Then they'd rifle the safe and leave. None of the victims could tell us if the pair used a car. Everyone concerned had been shown mug books, but they were unable to make an identification. The M.O. had been run through the stats office, but after the possibles had been checked out, we had nothing. Communications had been gotten off to George Brereton up at CII, Sacramento, but they were unable to help us in making an identification. For 3 months, the hold-up men were able to hit where they wanted and when they wanted, and it seemed as if we were unable to stop them. All sources of information had been checked, but they netted us no new leads. 8:25 a.m., Frank and I drove over to see Rod Nealon. He worked in a small machine shop on South La Brea. He checked with the shop foreman and got permission to talk to us. He led us to a small lunch stand around the corner from the shop. We ordered a cup of coffee, and Rod told us why he'd called.
I got to reading the papers, read about these holdups, and figured maybe I could give you guys a hand.
We can use it, Rod.
You guys were pretty nice to me when I got picked up, so I figure I owe you a favor.
Well, what's the information you got, Ron?
Well, I was in the bar the other night. See, Friday night, place down on 3rd, having a beer.
Yeah.
Well, I sat there for a little bit, chewing up a storm with a bartender, and these two guys come in. Got a girl with them.
Uh-huh.
Well, the three of them go over to a booth, sit down, and order drinks. I didn't pay much attention to them. It's none of my business.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, when they put in their order, bartender and me got kind of laughing about it.
Why is that?
Well, the two guys ordered bourbon, but the girl ordered one of those weird mixed things, cream de mint and cream de cocoa and chopped up ice. Real weird. When I looked over at her, usually the only people who order things like that are young kids. I asked the bartender about it.
Yeah.
He said that's all the girl ever ordered. Said they came in all the time, steady customers.
Well, what makes you think they're the ones we're after, Rod?
Well, the way they looked and acted. Two fellas were loaded with money, had a roll to choke a horse. Right then, I didn't think much about it. Figured maybe they were just trying to impress the girl,
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really think much about it then. On the way home, I stopped and picked up a morning paper. I read about the robberies. I noticed the descriptions you had on them. Fit the two guys in the bar to a T. Tall, redhead, short, dark fella. The big one even had that stutter.
You got any names on these two fellas?
No, I didn't hear anything. Not from them, anyway. I asked the bartender. He said the big one was called Chet, and the little guy's named Vince. He didn't know much about them, just said they came in a lot and had a lot of money to spend.
Any idea where they live?
No, I don't think he knew.
How about a car? Did you see one?
No, like I said, I was there when they came in, and I left before they did. If If I'd known what the bit was, I'd have stuck around and tried to get some more information for you. I didn't even figure it until I got home and saw the papers.
You heard anything around about the two men?
Not a thing. That's straight, too. I'm carrying a lunch bucket now. I got a job, and I keep my nose out of trouble. I had enough jail. I don't want any more of it.
Well, that's good to hear, Rod.
I learned. No more. Tough to learn it that way, but I guess there ain't no other. Now, sir, I'm clean. I'm going to stay that way. Like I said, though, you guys were nice to me. You gave me a break. I want to help you out. You know, sort of say thanks.
Yeah, Rod, and we appreciate it, too. You know that.
Listen, anything I can do, I'm with you, fellas.
Where is this bar?
It's a place on 3rd called Tad's. It's a little joint.
Yeah, we know it.
Most of the guys come in are there for contact, you know, trying to set something up.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's just it, Rod.
What do you mean?
Well, I think that if Frank and I walk into the place, somebody will make us sure we're known there. We'll burn the place, lose the two men.
I guess so. Well, you want me to hang around there, keep you posted, let you know what the guys are doing?
Well, it's kind of up to you, Rod.
They found out I was playing footsie with you. They'd nail me sure. You know that.
Well, you know we'll give you all the help we can if you want to do it.
It's going to be a little expensive sitting in there. Can't just sit without ordering something, you know.
Yeah. Well, here's $10. That ought to keep you going for a while.
Yeah, it will for a while. What do you want me to find out?
Well, get an address if you can. Find out where these guys work, what they do for a living, if they own a car. Get the license number if you can. Who the girl is, where she lives. Just as much as you can, you know.
Okay, how'll I get back to you?
Well, we'll be around. You won't have to look far.
I hope not. Those two guys get onto me, I got big trouble, you know.
Well, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, Rod.
Well, I want to. You guys have helped me plenty of times. Maybe I can kind of pay you back this way. I know I don't have to do it, Joe. It was my idea. It's okay by me if you guys will stay close.
We will, Rod.
Well, let's put it this way. You guys just stay close by. I'm 37. I got 28 years to go.
Yeah.
I want to be around for that Social Security.
We got the description of the girl who'd been seen with the two suspects, then Frank and I drove back to the office. We checked the names Chet and Vince through the moniker files in R&I. We came up with several possibles, but they were eliminated. For the next 3 days, we kept in constant contact with Rod Nealon. He would report for work at 8 a.m., finish up at 5, and then after a dinner downtown, he'd spend the evening in the bar down on 3rd Street. During that time, he had no contact with the two men. They'd failed to make an appearance at the bar. The kickbacks from up north arrived, but we got no new leads from them. Saturday, September 10th, Frank and I met with Nealon for lunch. He told us that he hadn't seen the suspects since the night he told us about. He said that the bartender told him that they hadn't been in the place on 3rd Street. 3:16 p.m., Frank and I checked back into the office.
Well, that went no place.
I wonder where they are.
I don't know, Joe. Nothing around town on them. Maybe they decided they were running their luck a little close, huh?
Well, it could be, but they got no reason to quit. As far as they know, they're in the clear. There's nothing to scare them off.
No. You think Rod is playing ball with us?
Well, I don't know. There's no reason not to. He came to us. We didn't go to him.
Guess he learned his lesson. Takes a lot of nerve to do what he's doing. Glad to see he's playing it straight, though.
Yeah. You want to check the book?
Yeah.
Anything there?
No, nothing. This call from Faye wants me to call her before I leave the office. There are a couple of teletypes here. Joe?
Yeah?
Here's our answer.
What?
Teletype from San Francisco. Jewelry store was heisted for $150,000.
Yeah?
2 men, one with a sawed-off shotgun.
We sent a teletype to San Francisco immediately, asking for full details on the holdup. The answer gave the M.O. that the two thieves had used and their descriptions. In every detail, the operation matched that of the 2 men we were looking for. We put in a call to Rod Nealon, but we found that he hadn't reported for work that day. Frank and I drove out to his apartment, but his landlady told us that she hadn't seen him since the day before. Frank and I checked the places where he ate and where he spent his time when he wasn't working. None of his friends had seen him. We spent the next 2 days looking for him. From a bartender on 7th, we heard that Rod had been in the place on Sunday the night before, and at that time he'd been pretty drunk. The bartender said that he appeared frightened and nervous. Monday, September 12th, 5:30 p.m. Frank and I checked into the office to sign out for the day.
I'll sign us out.
All right, I'll check the box. I got it. Robbery, Friday. Yeah. Well, where you been? We've been looking all over for you. We thought something had happened. What? When? Yeah. Well, take it easy, Rod. Yeah, we'll get to you. Yeah, what model? You got the license number? Just a minute. All right, go ahead. 2N3-9291. Yeah. Okay, yeah. We'll see you there. All right, be careful.
Rod?
Yeah. Says he's been trying to get a hold of us all day. Says he didn't want to leave his name. 2 suspects are back in town. Rod says they got a bankroll like Fort Knox, sporting a new car. He got the number. Better check it right away.
Where's he been?
Well, he said he was worried. He's been trying to stay out of sight. Said we better get the guys fast.
Yeah.
He thinks they're on to him. Our informant, Rod Nealon, told me on the phone that he'd been hiding for the last 2 days. He said that on the night the robbery suspects had gotten back into town, the bartender had let it drop to them that Rod had been asking questions. They'd started after him, and he'd been on a 2-day drunk trying to hide from him. He said that he'd tried to call us at the office several times, but he'd found that we weren't in. He was reluctant to leave his name or a message for fear that the 2 hoodlums might in some way find out about it. Frank drove over to his apartment but found that he wasn't there. When I'd spoken to him on the phone, he told me that he'd wait there until we could pick him up. The landlady at his place hadn't seen him and told Frank that she didn't even know that Rod was in the building. While Frank was gone, I checked the license number of the car through our DMV. They called us back to tell me that the car was registered to a Miss Dolly Keene at 18924 Elmwood Drive, Hollywood. Frank got back to the office, and we drove out to see the girl. On the apartment register, she was listed as the tenant of apartment 406. We knocked at the door to the manager's apartment and waited.
Yeah?
You the manager, ma'am?
Yeah, something I can do for you?
We're police officers. We'd like to talk to you. Here's our identification.
I see. Friday.
Yes, ma'am. It's my partner, Frank Smith.
How do you do,
How do you do? I'm Barbara Townsend. Would you like to come in and talk? Might be better in the hall.
Thank you very much, Miss Townsend.
It's Mrs. I'm a widow woman. Husband died 7 years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that, ma'am.
It's all right, Mr. Friday. I'm used to being a widow now. Just sit down. We can have our talk.
Thank you.
Now then, what was it you want to talk about? Not something I've done, I hope.
No, Miss Townsend. It's about one of your tenants, a Miss Dolly Keene.
Oh, that one. Might have known it.
Why'd you say that, ma'am?
Oh, just because. I always knew she was going to cause trouble here. I knew it. I told Sinbad about it. Told him a lot of times.
Sinbad? Give us a description of the man.
Tall man, over 6 feet, red hair. Had a kind of stutter. I never talked to him. I just heard him when they came in. My door's right near the front, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Does she have any other friends in the building, ma'am? Do you know?
Oh, no. Isn't anybody in the building likes her. Well, except that Mr. Newton on the 2nd floor. He's kind of flighty, impressed with a pretty girl, you know. But she's not friendly with anybody.
Does she have any visitors? Anyone who came to see her?
Just her boyfriend, the red-headed one. And then there was the other one. I don't think he was a friend of hers, though.
What other one's that, ma'am?
He was a little man, dark. I think he was a friend of the boyfriend. Seemed that way to me.
Any of them drive a car, would you know?
Well, I don't know about the others, but Miss Keene just got one. Brand new. 1953. Don't know where she got the money for it, but by golly, she's got the car.
Uh-huh. She worked, ma'am?
I don't know. When she signed the lease, she told me that she was a designer for a clothing company out here. That's a fact. She's got mighty cushy hours. Seems to come and go whenever she pleases.
But when she get the new car, do you know?
It's a couple of days ago. She told me that she had to go out of town on some business. Wanted me to keep an eye on her apartment. She didn't have to tell me that. I'm the manager here. Of course I'm going to watch the place.
Yes, ma'am. About the car, please.
Oh, yeah. No, she had it when she came back. Just drove up in it, smart as you please. Told me that she wanted a garage for it. Said she didn't want to leave it on the streets at night. I told her she'd just have to wait. We got 18 units here and only 10 garages. All of them are taken. I told her she'd just have to wait. She said she maybe leave it over at her sister's for a few days.
Her sister's?
Yeah, she has a sister in the neighborhood someplace.
Do you know where she lives?
No, I don't. Pretty sure it's someplace in the neighborhood, though.
Would you know her sister's name?
No. Sorry, I can't help you out there either. She's married. Don't know her married name. Miss Keene never mentioned that.
How about mail, Miss Townsend? Miss Keene get much mail?
I couldn't tell you that. They got their own keys, open their own mailboxes. I got no way of telling what they get.
I see.
Of course, I could see in through the little slots in the mailbox. She got a few letters. I couldn't tell you where they were from, though.
I see. She in now, would you know?
No. I mean, I don't think she's in. I haven't heard her. Usually she comes in laughing and carrying on, so I'd know if she was in. What's all this about, anyway? What's she done?
No, we just like to talk to her, Mrs. Townsend.
Like that, is it?
Ma'am?
Got something secret to talk about.
No, ma'am, it's not that. It'd be better if we talked to her, that's all.
No. Well, I hope you get the chance to.
Beg pardon?
Well, last time I saw her, she talked about leaving town.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action. Chesterfield is best for you. Listen to this report. It's a report never before made about a cigarette. Smoked day after day by a group of people smoking from 10 to 40 cigarettes a day for a full year. Here's Chesterfield's record. A medical specialist, giving this group thorough examinations every 2 months for a full year, reports no adverse effects to their nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields. Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like that? You'll find Chesterfield's best for you. They're much milder, with an extraordinarily good taste. And for your pocketbook, Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy.
In the company of the manager, Frank and I went through the girl's apartment. In the closets, we found clothing that indicated that she'd returned to the place. We called the office and told them that we were setting up a stakeout on the building. Frank and I went downstairs and parked the car up the street. Frank was in the front seat of the car. I stayed in the back. 8:30 p.m. There was still no sign of the girl. Frank called the office and found that our informant, Rod Nealon, was still missing. We waited. 9:30 p.m., 10, 11:30 p.m. A car answering the description of the girls pulled up in front of the apartment building.
Joe?
Yeah, I see him.
Car matches. Can you see the license?
No, not from here. 2 people in the car, a girl and a man.
Yeah.
Well, let's try it.
Right. I'll cover the other side, huh?
Right. Excuse me.
Yeah? Oh, what is it?
I'd like to see your identification, please.
Well, what for? I'm doing nothing.
Police officers like to see your ID.
I don't know what this is all about.
All right, mister, get out of the car.
I don't know what you guys are trying to prove with all this. Getting so a guy can't take his girl out anymore without cops rousing him.
Looks like the other one in the car that just pulled up.
Yeah.
Vince, get out of here. It's the cops.
I'll get him.
All right, get your hands in back of it.
Lousy cops, you'll never get him.
Stand still.
You'll never get him. He's probably got your partner by now.
All right, get back in the car.
What's going on, Sheriff?
Lousy cops, they think they got us. Vince is a good shot.
All right. Give me those ignition keys, lady.
What for?
Give them to me.
All right.
Now, both of you, stay in the car.
Joe, the apartment house. Over here.
How about it?
He's up there on the second floor.
All right, come on, mister, give it up.
Get away from me, cops. Get away.
Throw that gun down here. Come on, throw that gun down.
What do you figure, Joe?
I don't know. Cover me. I'll go up.
Right. How about it?
I don't see him.
Stop it! Don't shoot! I give up! I give up! Don't shoot anymore, please!
All right, mister, throw that gun out here. Come on. Throw it out here.
All right. There it is. You got it. I'll give you a break. I got it, Joe.
All right, come on. Put your hands against that wall.
I'm hurt. He shot me. Now leave me alone. I'm hurt. Did you see that?
I'll shake him. All right. He's clean.
Call a doctor. Give me a doctor. I'll bleed to death. Don't give me a doctor.
You're not hurt that bad. Now, come on. Let's go.
I'll give you a hand. Come on.
All right, come on.
What's all the shooting about? Oh. Shot him, huh?
Yes, ma'am. I better call Georgia Street, Frank. Get the other ones in the car.
Yeah, I'll stay here with this one.
Frank?
What's the matter? Something wrong?
Yeah, I got to get out of broadcast. They're gone. When the number 2 suspect had started firing at Frank, I handcuffed the first suspect and I went to Frank's aid. On returning to the car, we found that both suspects had escaped. The man was still handcuffed, so moving around would be difficult for him. A broadcast was gotten out to all units in the area on the 2 escaped suspects. The car they'd driven was still parked out in front of the apartment. An ambulance arrived and removed the wounded suspect to the county hospital. Before he was taken away, he gave us the names of his 2 accomplices, Chester Rayburn and Dolly Keene. We called the office and told him what had happened. Additional teams of men were sent out to help us canvass the area. Frank and I went through the personal effects of Dolly Keene. In a desk drawer, we found a telephone book, and one of the numbers in the book bore the name Sis. It gave a telephone number and an address 3 blocks from the apartment house. We got in touch with Captain Didion and informed him of the developments. Additional men from Metro Division were sent out to cover the address listed in the telephone book. Captain Didion also told us that our informant, Rod Nealon, had been found in a rooming house on 3rd Street where he'd been hiding since the 2 bandits had gotten back into town. He was placed in protective custody. Frank and I went over to the sister's apartment.
Yeah, what do you want?
Police officers. You Patricia Saxon?
Yeah, so what?
Want to look at your apartment.
What for? There's nothing here means anything to you.
Sister been here tonight?
No. Haven't seen her last couple of days.
Anyone here with you?
No.
We're going to have to look.
Yeah, maybe I don't want you to.
That's tough, lady. All right, let's shake it down, Frank.
Yeah.
There's no one here. Isn't anybody with me?
Closet in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Better stay away from there. He's got a shotgun.
Cover that side, Frank.
Yeah.
All right, Rayburn. Open the door slow and throw that gun out here. Rayburn, we'll tell you once more. We know you're in there. Now throw that gun out here.
He's not coming out, Joe. All right, cop, here it is. I don't want no trouble, you hear? No trouble. You got the gun.
All right, come on. Get up, Rayburn, on your feet. You too, Miss Keene. Come on out of there.
Don't shoot. Please don't. We didn't mean nothing. Don't shoot. We give her.
Well, come on out of there. Keep your hands on your head there.
I'll get him.
Wasn't anything else I could do. Had to do what they tell me. Come in here with that gun and wanted something to cut those handcuffs off with. Had to do what they said.
Yeah, sure.
They'd have killed me if I didn't. I know it. They'd have killed me.
A couple of more minutes and we'd have had it made. Just a couple more minutes, that's all. That's all we needed. Though we got up north, he never got us. We'd have had it made.
One more big job, that's what you said. One more and we'd be through. Well, wise guy, where are we now?
Right where he said you'd be.
What?
You're through.
The story you've just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 18th, trial was held in Department 87, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Did you know that Chesterfield shows up year after year as first choice of young America? Now, that's based on a survey made in 274 colleges and universities. The reason is we're first with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield. It's a good, mild smoke with a wonderful taste.
Chester Lloyd Rayburn and Vincent Robert Parker were tried and found guilty on 9 counts of robbery in the first degree. They were sentenced to the state penitentiary for the term prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 5 years. Lillian Keene, alias Dolly Keene, was tried and convicted of being an accessory. She received sentence as prescribed by law. Aiding a principal in a felony is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not more than 5 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, in the fight against an old enemy, polio, medical research has armed us with a powerful new weapon, gamma globulin. Used soon enough, it can prevent the paralyzing effects of polio. But first, you must furnish the raw material, blood. Doctors urgently need your donation of blood to make gamma globulin. So call the Red Cross. Please don't put it off. It's too important. Call the Red Cross tomorrow and make an appointment to give blood.
Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Peggy Weber, Peter Leeds. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show, Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield's. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfield's much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Now, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for natural filtering. Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. So remember, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima. See how smooth they are.
Remember, Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings transcribed to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak, for hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak, for hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak, for hire. Down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you always bite off more than you can chew. It's tough on your windpipe, but you don't go hungry. And down here, a lot of people figure it's better to be a fat guy in a graveyard than a thin guy in a stew. That way, you can be sure of a tight fit. Oh, I rent boats and do anything else that makes a sound like money. It works out all right, if your mother doesn't mind you coming home for Easter in a box. I found that out Wednesday night, about 9 o'clock. I closed the shop early, and I came home to read. It wasn't a bad book if you ever wanted to start a forest fire. It was one of those historical things, and the girl in it wandered around like a meat grinder in ribbons. It was moving along all right. She was just getting her second wind before going after the world's record when the door to my apartment opened and the place began to get kind of crowded. From where I sat, the crowd looked good. She sauntered in, moving slowly from side to side like 118 pounds of warm smoke. Her voice was all right, too. It reminded you of a furnace full of marshmallows.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks for knocking.
I don't think you mind my coming in without warning.
No, I get the cabbage smell from next door the same way.
Does it pay to be that polite, Mr. Novak?
Saves you the trouble of saying please. What's on your mind?
That bottle in front of you. Will you pour me a drink?
No, I won't. You'll save dough if you look up a bartender.
All right. I came to use you instead of your whiskey anyway.
Let's hear.
My name is Lee Underwood. I'll give you $300 to do something for me. It'll only take an hour.
That's too much dough unless it's murder, and if it is murder, it's not enough dough.
Are you afraid?
I just don't like paid murder, I told you. When you get caught, the pain gets expensive.
If it were murder, I'd do it myself. Mr. Novak, I want you to frighten someone for me.
Why don't you hire a friend? Are they too pretty?
It's a man named Dixie Gillian. You'll find him in an office down on Folsom Street at this address. I promise nothing will happen to you.
That's what they told Benedict Arnold.
You'll be in this office until 11 tonight. I want you to go in and see him. Tell him you're from Adrian, and that he's to get out of town by tomorrow noon.
Suppose he wants to put it off.
He won't. Don't let him know who hired you. Just tell him Adrian said to leave.
Look, lady, you better go on home. For $300 I won't buy a tissue paper plot. Now tell me more or say goodbye.
There's not much more I can tell you, except there won't be any trouble. He's a rotten little beast, and I want him fighting badly.
Why?
He's been bothering my sister.
Why doesn't he bother you?
Because I bother back too fast. You want the 300, Mr. Novak?
Yeah, it's going to be a long summer. Put it on the table.
Good. And you'll need this, too.
No, you keep that. I don't want a gun.
It's empty. Don't worry. See? No shells. It's perfectly safe.
Now, look, sis, I got a nasty disposition. You can rent that for $300, but if you want more, find a gunsel.
I don't want you to be a gunsel. That's why I want you to use this gun. I know it's empty. Use it on Dixie and he'll scare fast. It's just a way to save some breath.
All right. It's your 300.
You'd better go now.
Yeah, wait till I get a code with you. If your doorbell rings, don't play mouse.
Oh?
Because I may look you up.
Am I too young to ask why?
Because if anything goes wrong, I'll be around looking for you. And from there on, it won't be nice. I'll dirty you up like a locker room towel.
Relax, Patsy. You'll never learn to fall in love that way.
She handed me the gun and walked out of my apartment. Seeing her leave made you feel like Frank Buck losing an argument. She walked with a nice, easy swing of a satisfied leopard. And for a small leopard, she had pretty good spots, too. Well, I put the gun in my overcoat pocket and I went down to Folsom Street. The address was down near the bridge entrance, and the street was deserted except for a couple of winos near the corner trying to buy back 1926 at $1 a jug. I stopped in front of the place. It was a machinery company, and I could see a light burning in the back. I began to walk through the place. It was so quiet you could hear a worm with whooping cough, and there were enough shadows around to keep a ghost happy for years. When I got to the office back in the corner, through the glass, I could see a man sitting at the desk. When I opened the door and walked in, he didn't seem surprised.
Come on in, mister. You're bad on noise.
Yeah?
That's right. You make too much for a thief and not enough for a customer. What do you want?
How about 10 words if you're Dixie, Gillian?
Go ahead.
You better look up a timetable.
What makes you that tough?
This.
Oh. Well, you look tougher with a gun. Does it make you talk faster?
Now, look, I'm going to say it slow, mister. Pack up your rompers and get out.
Is that you talking or somebody else?
I'm just the guy with a gun. Adrian does the talking.
And he says get up.
That's right. You got the whole message now.
All right, you told me, so wander out and spend your dough.
I will.
Oh, you'll need part of it, though. Because I'm going to give you an answer for Adrian. I'm going to take that gun away from you, mister. You can pick the pieces out of your head on the way home.
You better stand back or I'll share it with you.
You got your offer, mister. Let's see you make good.
Oh, save your muscle, fella. Drop that gun. Save your muscle, fella. The gun's empty.
Somebody fooled us, mister.
Sometimes you can get a home run with a half swing. That's the way it was this time. He couldn't have made it with a prayer book in both hands. He slid down to the floor and trembled for a minute and then flattened out like a leaf in a pool of water. Just before he died, he grabbed his side as if he didn't like the way it hurt. And then he didn't care. I rolled him on his back and let him look at the ceiling. His eyes were open, and he looked surprised, like a guy who didn't figure on a change in the weather. There was a scar that ran across his forehead and dug deep into his hairline. And he was lying there with a bunch of pink gum showing as if he was trying to pick up a few bucks with a toothpaste ad. Well, I didn't have time to tell him how sorry I was, because if homicide caught me here, I'd have about as much chance as a canary in a basement full of cats. I started for the door, but right then I knew I could start ordering birdseed. It was Hellman, and he walked over to look at the body.
Hello, Novak. The guy looks embarrassed.
Yeah, I guess he is, Hellman.
What's he doing dead?
Putting in a beef somewhere, I guess. He rates it.
He'll like you for that, Novak. How'd it happen?
A team play. We worked it out together.
But you've got the gun.
That's right. I got the gun.
Yeah. You feel like a bet?
No, just keep stealing the old way.
You know how I feel, Novak?
You feel flabby to anybody else, but to yourself, I suppose you feel good.
Look, I walked in here with a gun. There was some quick fight talk, and I killed him, but it's still not a good rap.
I can get a long price on it for you, Novak.
I'll bet you can, Hellman. You can give me a bad deal, but part of the time it'll be from the other side of the deck.
Worse than that, Novak. It'll be all the time. I want to watch you because I think you're going to be a crybaby.
I'm going to scream if that's what you mean, Hellman. I'm going to scream about a gal that sent me in here with an empty gun.
That's a big hole for a cat pistol, Novak.
I got a last-minute curve. It was empty once.
Yeah, that's the only way they make a gun. I don't want you for an hour ago. I want you for this dead guy on the floor.
All right. I told you I didn't come in here to kill the guy. I don't know him. He may even be a good guy. I'm sorry he's dead.
All right, Novak. Just wait a few weeks. You can tell him personally.
Hellman had me up against the rail, and he knew it. When we left there, he was wearing a big, toothy smile. It was big enough to sew on his ears. He called the coroner and told him to pick up the stiff, and then we rode downtown. He dropped the gun into ballistics and hauled me into his office. The reporters were there. He gave them the whole story and told them how to spell Hellman. After that, we wound up at the desk, and he booked me on suspicion of murder. The next hour and a half was the kind of stuff they don't write about in the paper. They call it interrogation, and when you're finished, you've been through a lot of tight spots, like an atom up at Caltech. About 11 o'clock, Hellman brought me into his office, and from there on, it happened kind of fast.
I just talked to the DA. He's going to streamline things for you.
Well, he's going to look funny going to trial on a guy you can't identify.
You'll find out all about the dead guy.
You can't count his fingers without making a mistake. If you want to know who he is, talk to that girl. Her name's Lee Underwood.
We've been through all that, Novak. Now, suppose you tell me who Dixie Gillian is.
I don't know, Hellman. The girl said his name was Dixie Gillian.
I won't press you. I don't have to, Novak. I've got the only parlay I need. You, the dead guy, and a big fat murder gun.
Sure.
Yeah, Hellman talking. Yeah, I know it was a 38. They're crazy down in ballistics. I saw him standing over the dead guy. They must have made a mistake, that's all. No, I don't want him in here. I don't want him in here. Hey, Tony,
You're getting pale. You need some more rouge, Hellman.
I got some bad news, Inspector.
Well, keep it or you'll take more home to your wife. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to him now, Hellman. If that bullet doesn't match the gun, talk to him now.
That's right, Inspector. A 38 bullet, but it won't match the gun you brought in.
It's got a match. I came in and found him standing there. He's already admitted it.
It's a neat trick, then. If he fired the bullet out of that gun, he retooled it in midair.
I'm not that fast, Hellman. Come on, get out of that chair so you'll have room to squirm.
You keep still, Novak.
I won't bother you. I'm going home. I'm walking out of your jail, Hellman. You got a broken-down 38 that won't fit anything but your thumbs. You can't hold me on that.
I found you over the body. I can hold you on suspicion of murder.
Yeah, but it'll hurt tomorrow morning, Hellman. The papers will be down for a follow-up, and you'll have to tell them what it looks like out in left field.
I'll handle them.
You can't afford to let them start laughing at you. People get the idea it's your face.
You can save car fare if you stay right here, because I'll have you back by noon tomorrow.
You're not that good, Hellman. You couldn't hold a moth with a searchlight. The town ought to thank you.
What?
Oh, it's a nice jail, Hellman. With you around, it'll last for years. When I walked out of headquarters, I had a nice mess to juggle. It was like trying to walk the baby on a floor full of marbles. If things didn't add up for Hellman, they weren't going to do any better for me. I knew that gun I had went off. If it did, what happened to the bullet, and where did the other one come from? And why weren't there two shots? Well, I couldn't put my finger on a thing, and nothing added up. It was like trying to follow a grain of rice in a Shanghai suburb. So I looked up Lee Underwood's address, and I went by her apartment. The girl downstairs told me that she worked at a nightclub out on the Bay Shore Highway. Well, I had to hit a couple of places, so I looked up the only honest guy I know. An ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. A good man until he began to figure the last drink in the bottle is just as easy to get at as the first. I found him in a little leather-trimmed sink on Powell Street. It was a grimy little hole where they washed the glasses once a week in stale beer. But Jocko was more at home than a vulture in Calcutta.
Ah, Patsy, you're just in time to celebrate my return to health. Something mild for Mr. Novak. A double stinger, perhaps.
No, forget it, Jocko. I got to talk to you.
Patsy, I've just passed through a crisis. A few minutes ago, they set before me a glass with a woman's lipstick all around the rim.
All right, Jocko.
I took one gulp and looked at the glass, and in this dim light, I thought I was bleeding to death. It took them 10 minutes and 3 mirrors to calm me down.
Jocko, I'm in trouble. You gotta help me.
But they washed the glass for me in ammonia. They must have left a little ammonia in the glass because the next drink had a very odd tang about it. I've had 3 more just like it, a sort of ammonia colony.
All right.
So far, they've been using domestic ammonia. When the imported stuff comes in, I may give up whiskey altogether.
Calm down, will you, Jocko? I got a bum shake tonight.
Yes?
I either killed a guy or thought I did.
That uses up the alternatives. What are you doing now, taking a vote?
I got hired to scare a guy down on Folsom Street. 10 minutes later, the guy was dead.
Patsy, you take your work too seriously. Couldn't you have just scared him into a lingering illness instead of killing him?
One of the props was an empty gun. Only when the fight came, it grew bullets. Hellman walked in right after on a telephone tip.
What are you doing out of the gas chamber?
The whole thing backfired down at headquarters. The bullet and the phony gun wouldn't match. Oh, it doesn't add up, Jocko. That call to Hellman's a tip-off. I was framed, but why wasn't I framed all the way?
Who is the dead man?
Oh, just a guy with a falling blood count. His name was supposed to be Dixie Gillian, but there's no identification and no record on him.
You shouldn't have hired out as a gunslinger.
I told you I didn't hire out as a gunslinger. It was somebody else's idea.
You have no conscience, Patsy. It's just a sort of soap opera rule of thumb you put into practice now and then, but no real conscience. You'd let a dying woman lie in the middle of the highway unless her head was resting on a pile of savings bonds.
All right, Jocko. I'll try with you later. I need help now.
What sort of help?
I want you to break into a girl's apartment.
Yes?
Don't worry. She won't be home.
Is that supposed to be an incentive?
It's at this address here, up on O'Farrell. Her name is Lee Underwood. She's the one who hired me.
If the girl's not there, what am I supposed to find?
Anything that'll connect her with the dead man. He's a big guy with a scar.
That doesn't help much.
You can't miss. Go through the desk and drawers. Pick up everything you can, will you? And leave a message at my place.
As soon as I've finished this drink.
Oh, hurry up, will you, Jocko? Leave the glass alone and get going.
Don't rush me.
Hurry up, will you? The glass is empty anyway.
Yes, that's what you thought about that gun, but the fellow got an awful jolt out of it. Good night, lover.
I went by a horse parlor on O'Farrell Street and borrowed a car from a guy. It was after midnight when I started down the Bayshore Highway, and about a half hour later, I pulled up in front of the Cat's Paw. It was a long, rambling place on the left side of the road. There was no plan. It just followed the erosion line until they ran out of material. There was enough neon in front to light a main intersection in heaven. In the lobby, I saw a picture of Lee Underwood, one of those shadowy things that was supposed to make you think she'd die in a cold climate. She was sitting at a piano with a little microphone in front of her, and you got the idea right away. She didn't have much of a voice, but plenty of songs that made your wife lean over and ask you to explain. I asked a 50-year-old busboy, and he said she was back in her dressing room getting ready for the 1 o'clock show. When I walked in, she was sitting in front of a mirror working on an upswept hairdo. If she swept it up any more, it was going to leave her head. I stood behind her, looking at the pink, fresh part of her neck that didn't show when the hair was down.
You seem fascinated, Patsy.
No, I just want to know where to break it.
Oh. Sit down on the footstool next to me.
Yeah.
That's it. I like to look down on people. Let me brush that strand of hair back. Or do you like it in your eyes?
Now brush it back so I can see your answers. Who's Dixie Gillian?
What difference does it make?
None to him and some to me. He's dead.
No, he couldn't be dead.
Yeah, well, he'd like to believe that, too. I couldn't sell him that story about an empty gun.
He couldn't have been killed with that gun.
No?
No. I put in a blank, Patsy.
Somebody used a hard-working bullet because Dixie's dead.
There was no reason to kill him. I don't understand.
Yeah, well, that makes you even with homicide, but they got a bigger team. Now, look, I made a diagram, Angel. Up at my place, I ran over murder with you. I don't like it. If you kill people, you don't get invited out enough. So if it's you or me on this one, I'm going to push you all the way.
Don't understand it, Patsy.
Who's Dixie Gillian?
He was after some microfilm. I thought I could scare him away.
You better be ready to identify him because homicide stopped. Even that scar didn't help.
What scar, Patsy?
The scar across his face, there's no record on him.
No, Patsy. Everything goes wrong. Everything you touch goes wrong. That's the wrong man, Patsy.
Yeah. Well, it's too late for a recount.
You've got to get to that body, Patsy. I don't know how, but some way you've got to get to him.
You look good, Lee. You make a nice picture.
Wait a minute, Dixie.
You don't need your coat. Come on.
I don't know how it happened, Dixie. I didn't mean it that way.
You like it that way, all right. Bring the boyfriend, too.
No, don't let him, Patsy.
The gun's too big. I'm going with him. was a short trip. He led us out of the dressing room and down a thin hall to the back door. On the way past the kitchen, you could smell onions and used grease, and that's about all you noticed except the sound of a jukebox somewhere out in front and somebody laughing in a loud, mirthless way. When we got to the door, it was raining outside. We walked about 40 feet over near some trees where the dark was working overtime, and the gunsel made us stop.
Pick your spot, Lee.
You can't be that crazy, Dixie.
It's going to get wet, mister.
You'll have a little trouble yourself.
When I woke up, it was still raining. I was lying on top of the mud like a stubborn seed. My wallet was gone, and the gunsel had ripped open my pockets. I stood up and walked over for a last look at Lee. The rain had washed the makeup off her face, and she looked small and tired as she lay there, like a broken doll that had been tossed out in the rain. I guess she was. Well, I got to my car, and I drove back to town. I checked my place, but there was no word from Jocko, so I went up to Lee's apartment. When I opened the door, the room was dark, but I knew somebody was on the rug. Either that or they'd varnished the floor with bourbon. I flipped on the light and bent over Jocko. Hey. Wake up, Jocko. All right, Jocko. Come on, wake up. Come on.
A little ammonia, I think, would bring me around.
What happened?
I was sapped, I guess.
Everybody's got the same act tonight.
Help me up. Where have you been?
I went down to meet the girl.
Where'd you meet her? In a swimming pool?
I've been in the rain all night. She's going to stay longer. What'd you find out?
The fellow with the scar is her husband.
Yeah?
There's a picture in the desk.
Are there any more pictures?
A few. Take a look.
Where, in here?
Yes.
Well.
Who's he?
It must be Dixie Gillian. He was down to pay off a debt tonight. She called him Dixie once.
There's a note with that name and an address in the other drawer.
He's our boy. We better get up there.
Not if he's already killed 2 other people.
We can't wait for Hellman. If he gets away, I'm all through. I won't have a leg to stand on.
That's my point. When the other fellow gets through with us, we won't have much standing to do.
I felt better now. Gillian was the only guy left in the picture, so I dragged Jocko up to his place. It was an apartment up on Post Street. The elevator operator took us up to the 8th floor and said that Gillian had come in a few minutes before. There was no answer, so we tried the door, and it was open. Jocko didn't like the idea.
Patsy, this is folly. Risking my life is one of the bravest things you do.
Keep still, Jocko. What are we supposed to do? The door was open, wasn't it?
Saw a lot of graves, but I've never been tempted.
Hey, look at the furniture. There's been a fight in here. I'll look in here. You check in the bedroom, huh?
If I'm not right back, don't expect me at all.
All right.
Patsy.
Yeah?
Patsy, come here.
All right.
There's somebody on the fire escape.
Come here. Stand back here.
Oh, he's not moving. He was leaning that way when I first saw him.
All right, I'll get on this side. You raise the window. Now go easy, Jocko. Can you see him from there?
Raise it a little more.
All right.
He's still leaning there. I can reach out.
All right, watch yourself. If he's kidding, you'll lose an arm.
I got it. Good. Raise the window more. Hey, Patsy, he's falling. Give me a hand.
Oh, here, let me through there.
Oh, it's too late. I can't hold it.
Hang on, Jocko.
He's falling. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, he was probably dead anyway.
If he wasn't, that was a step in the right direction.
Well, it was an easy night to die. 3 of them had checked out already, and there was still time to look for more. Jocko and I went downstairs to see the guy. He was lying face down in the alley, and as you looked at him, you got the funny feeling he belonged there. He didn't disturb the scene. He just fitted in like a dirty, wet newspaper under a grandstand. There was a gun in his pocket, probably the same one that killed the girl, but there was no way of knowing. Jocko and I watched him for a minute, but your eyes begin to hurt when you see your only warm lead in a deep freeze. It was past 2 when I got down to headquarters and looked up Hellman. I briefed him on the girl and the guy in the alley, and Then I asked him if any microfilm had turned up on the first guy in the morgue. That was a waste of time. Hellman couldn't find a brass ring in a dead man's nose, but we went over to the morgue for another look. So far, it was working out like a crossword puzzle torn in half.
It's your turn, Novak. I got more after tomorrow. You haven't.
The microfilm must be on the guy. 3 people have been killed for it, and I got roughed up just for laughs.
We searched the guy once. Here it is.
All right.
Help me roll it out.
Yeah. Well. He sure got thin under that sheet, didn't he?
Wait a minute.
Oh, you run a good morgue, Hellman. What'll the paper say when they hear the stiff got up and walked out?
They got him in the wrong place or something. He didn't walk out.
Well, he's gone, Hellman. You got an answer?
He's been moved, I tell you. The guy was dead, and I saw him put in here. Couldn't be walking around with a hole in the middle of his back.
I don't know, Hellman. You do it with one in your head. Don't sell the guy short. When Hellman found out the body was gone, he stood there and stared at the empty slab. And then he started looking around in a nervous way, like a man trying to find a sugar bowl at a restaurant counter. A few minutes later, he turned and walked out of the morgue, and we were halfway downtown when it happened. It must have hit us at the same time, sharp and quick, like a piece of candy in a bad tooth. The guy back in the alley had come off that slab in the morgue. We got out to Dixie's place, and we began to check. There was a phone operator downstairs, and she said that Dixie had put through a call about 2 hours ago. Hellman checked the number, and it was the ticket office of a railroad. We got downtown and ran through the timetable. There was a train leaving the Oakland Mole in about 40 minutes. Well, it was an outside chance, but tonight that was the only kind for sale. We got down in time to slide on the last ferry over to the Mole. It was still dark out when the ferry pulled away from the slip and started across the bay. But over toward the Berkeley Hills, it was beginning to get light. The sky was the color of a bruise spot on a man's arm.
We'll get up to the pallet house and tell him not to dock until we've gone through all the passengers.
He doesn't have to be on this one.
We'll check the train when we get there.
Wait a minute. You don't have to check. There's your boy.
Where?
Up there on the rail, see? Now, you better go easy, Hellman. He's not a scale model.
Yeah, just walk quietly until we're behind him.
All right.
Turn around, mister. You'll get a better view.
Hello, Novak. How was the wind and the rain in your hair?
Meet Inspector Hellman. You better turn in your ticket.
I hope you brought your muscle.
Grab him, Hellman.
That's what I'm trying to do. All right, copper. Watch it. I'm being pushed over on the rail.
I'm worried, Hellman.
Watch it, Novak. I'm going over. Oh!
That's one down, mister. Now for you.
I landed on the deck and watched him disappear into the dark. Halfway down, the guy turned in. I got up and followed him down the ladder and along the main deck. He ducked into one of the engine spaces, and I started in to look for him. It didn't take long because he turned out to be real helpful.
You got the idea yet, Novak?
I'll come closer. Tell me then.
Do it yourself. But I'll knock you down hard when you show.
Watch that platform. You're backing into trouble.
Stay back there, Novak.
Watch out for that platform, will you? You're backing into the engine.
I kind of wound up last, huh?
Yeah. That's the way it looks. Did you get the microfilm?
Yeah. I got a big hurt. Does it show?
A little.
Yeah. It's been a long night, Novak. Huh?
Yeah. But your worries are over. It's almost dawn.
I don't know if I can use it. But I'll give it to you.
Fished Hellman out of an oil slick a few minutes later. It was the first time his hair ever looked good. Dixie Gillian lasted long enough to piece a story together for homicide. Lee Underwood knew her husband was carrying microfilm, and she was worried, so she hired me to scare off Gillian. Well, it might have worked, too, but The first slip came when Lee's husband went by to make a deal with Dixie without telling her. When I jumped him, Dixie was outside and figured it was a double cross, so he killed him with a silencer when that phony gun that Lee gave me went off. Dixie knew that the microfilm was still on the dead man. The only way he could be sure was to get the body out of the morgue. He took it up to his apartment, and when he got the film, he planted the gun and put the body on the fire escape. It was a little safer that way. There was a 50-50 chance the police would miss it the first time around, and he'd have a fair lead. Well, almost worked out for him, except for that phone call. The microfilm was in a capsule next to the roof of the guy's mouth. So old it was new again. Well, Hellman asked only one question. In that fight, did I have anything to do with pushing him against the rail? I told him sometimes those ferry boats roll as much as 45 degrees.
The American Broadcasting Company has just brought you the 10th of a new series, Pat Novak for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced and directed by William B. Rousseau. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adlam. Be with us again next week, when over most of these same ABC stations we'll bring you Pat Novak for Hire. This program came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield is best for you. First cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a robbery detail. Somewhere in your city, a man is endangering the lives of your fellow officers. His weapon, a 10-cent piece. Your job, get him.
Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of them all.
The quality contrast between Chesterfield and other leading brands is a revealing story.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands.
Yes, Chesterfield is first, with premium quality in both regular and king size.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, May 6th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Gillian. My name's Friday. We were on our way back from the drunk tank, and it was 8:34 a.m. when we got to the first floor, the interview room. Okay, you want to sit down, Harris?
Yeah. What a head. Either one of you got an aspirin?
No, sorry.
How about a cigarette?
Yeah, here you go.
Here, I'll get that for you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Boy, what a head. I feel like I'm going to fall off and roll around on the floor.
Yeah?
Last time I got this tank was in the South Pacific. Natives brewed up some stuff. Tasted like torpedo juice. Took me 3 days to get over that. Hey, what am I in here for?
You don't remember?
No, not good. A lot of fog. Seems like the last thing I remember is a lot of sirens, fire engines, cops, a lot of noise. After that, there's a big nothing. What'd I do?
Well, he called the police department, told them an officer had been shot trying to stop a holdup. Then he called the fire department, told them the Times building was on fire.
You're kidding.
No, he's not.
Well, I really got it this time, haven't I?
Yes, sir, you got yourself a problem.
Why'd you do it?
Gee, I'm trying to think. Seemed like the girl I was with made some remark about L.A. being a dull town. I told her she just didn't know the place. I think that's when I started calling. Hey, this in the morning papers?
I don't think so. Why?
I really got trouble if it is. You arrest the girl?
No.
Thanks for small favors.
What?
Either you married?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he'll know what I mean. I don't think my wife would be crazy about who I was out with last night.
No?
Yeah. Wife thinks I was at a sales meeting. Hope she doesn't find out. Hey, where was I when you picked me up?
Well, according to the arrest report, you were in a phone booth trying to have the National Guard called out.
I gotta join something. This is the worst one I've ever pulled.
Where do you live, Harris?
Apartment over on 9th. Didn't they get that last night?
No. All you tell the arresting officers was your name.
I didn't give anybody any trouble, did I? I mean, I didn't start a fight, nothing like that, huh?
No. You didn't cause any trouble until they got you down here.
Down here? I didn't hit anybody, did I?
Well, you tried, but you didn't make it.
You guys are detectives, aren't you?
That's right.
How come they send you fellas down here? I caused that much trouble?
How long you been in town, Harris?
Since I got out of service. Thinking about 6 years.
You said you were a salesman. Who do you work for?
Connington and Michaels.
How long you been with them?
Since I got out, went to work for them right after I was discharged.
Ever been arrested before?
No. Oh, a couple of traffic tickets, nothing serious. Hey, what's all this about anyway? Well, you guys act, you're trying to prove something more than just a drunk rap. What's the pitch?
Well, there's been some fellow around town who's been making calls like you made last night. He's been making a lot of them.
They all been phony, but we got to send out equipment.
Oh, you figure maybe it was me, huh?
Looks like it might have been. We have to check it out.
No, I guess I made the ones last night. You say I did, but that's it. Hey, you mind if I take another cigarette?
Yeah, here. Help yourself.
Thanks.
Here's a match.
Thanks. Thanks. No, I'm sorry. You guys got the wrong fellow.
No.
You can check me. You'll find out you got the wrong man.
Uh-huh.
How come this is so important? You must get a lot of phony calls. How come this is so big?
A lot of reasons make it that way.
Yeah? Don't see it myself. Lots of times I see fire engines go out in false alarm. It doesn't look like it does any harm.
Do you remember how many units were with you last night?
No. Must have been a lot of them.
Well, 15 police cars answered the officer's need help call before they could get a code 4 out on it.
There were 5 units of fire department equipment there.
I suppose that equipment had been needed someplace else on a real call.
Yeah, see what you mean.
It's not just the equipment being out of service. Every time a unit rolls on a call, there's the chance that somebody's going to get hurt. That's what you built last night.
Look, I said I was sorry. There's anything more I can tell you. Any chance of me getting an aspirin around here?
There's a doctor here. All he had to do was ask for it. We'll check on our way out.
All right, come on, Harris. You can go back now.
Yeah.
Now, just a minute. What's the name of the friend you were out with last night?
You're going to have to drag her into this?
We've got to check your story.
I hate to have you do that. The story will stand. It isn't that.
What is it, then?
I told you I was married.
Yeah.
This gets in the papers. I'm going to have a bigger headache.
Is that right?
Yeah, my wife won't understand about last night.
Yeah, that's too bad, Harris.
She just won't understand, that's all.
Well, how's that?
Well, she's president of the Neighborhood Temperance Club.
"9:30 a.m. James Harris was returned to his cell to be held to answer charges of violation of Section 4127A Municipal Code. Frank and I called the woman he'd said he was with the night before. She verified the story that he'd given us. Further investigation of Harris proved that he couldn't possibly have been the suspect we were looking for. We drove back to the office to talk with Captain Gillian. For the past 3 weeks, both the police and fire departments had been getting a number of false calls, apparently from the same person. The officers on the complaint board told us that they had gotten so that they almost recognized the voice of the caller. They told us that it sounded like a male voice, and the caller could be middle-aged. The person had no noticeable accent or speech peculiarities. They'd tried to hold the suspect on the phone when they were certain that it was the same caller, but they'd been unable to do so. Most of the calls the suspect put through were of the emergency type.
As a result, we had to send men and equipment to the reported scene, even though we might think that the call was a false one. The calls averaged 6 a week during the period that the suspect had been operating. In cooperation with the members of the fire department, Frank and I were assigned to try to apprehend the person making the calls. The operation was simple. The individual would call the board, give an address that we couldn't check out, and then describe what had happened. The address given was usually a corner, so that it was impossible for us to make verifying phone calls. In each instance, as soon as the suspect would report the disturbance, he would hang up. The operation was simple and untraceable. 11:17 a.m. We finished talking with Captain Didion and left his office.
All right, Skipper. Check you later. Boy, he's in a great mood this morning, you know.
Do you blame him? The way this thing's going, we're no nearer to breaking it.
Yeah. Joe figures the guy who's doing this is going to be around to watch all the excitement. That's got to be the reason he's making the call, so he can get his kicks. Well, he figures he's got to be in the crowd someplace. So? Well, let's try to get a hold of the newspaper pictures. Try to check them. Find one person who's at the scene. Might work.
Well, it's someplace to start, isn't it? It's a hot shot. I get it. Gonna have to wait. Bank robbery in progress. 11:26 a.m. We took the call car and started for the bank. Before we arrived, Control 1 put out a code 4 on the call. No further assistance needed. It was another false alarm. We completed our investigation, and on the way back to the office, we answered an ambulance follow-up call 2 blocks from the bank. A squad car had been on the way to answer the robbery call at the bank. It had been traveling north on Spring Street. An ambulance had been making an emergency trip to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. It had been traveling west on 7th Street. Both had been rolling code 3. Neither one of them heard the siren of the other unit. Neither of them knew of the other's presence. Both had hit the intersection at the same time. The police car, in an attempt to avoid the ambulance, had swerved. It had caromed off the side of the larger vehicle and then plowed through traffic and hit a traffic signal pole head-on. The car had hit the pole at the seam of the left front fender and the body. The police unit had been split wide open. The officer on the passenger side of the car had been thrown against the windshield. The other one had been thrown into the steering wheel and then out of the car onto the curb 10 feet from the wrecked unit. The ambulance, after being hit, had spun across the intersection on 2 wheels, hit the curbing, and tipped over. Only the fact that it had hit a streetlight pole had stopped it from going on through the pedestrian traffic on the sidewalk. It had come to rest laying on its side at the southeast corner of the intersection. The driver of the ambulance had been thrown clear of the truck. The patient in the rear and the attendant with him had been thrown about in the interior of the unit, and when we got there, they were lying in a mass of wreckage. The intersection was covered with gasoline and oil. A traffic officer was attempting to do what he could for the survivors.
Let us through here. Police officers, please
All
let us
right,
through.
sir, if you'll just step back there. I'm sorry. Keep back, please.
Friday and Smith, central robbery.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jake's in traffic.
They alive?
I don't know. Both unconscious. Pretty bad. I didn't want to move them.
How about an ambulance?
I put the call in right away.
Did you call in about this oil on the streets here?
No, I didn't yet.
Well, you better get a call in, don't you think? Have them warn all approaching units. Street's slippery. Have them approach with caution, huh?
Right.
Thank you.
Sure is a mess, isn't it?
Doesn't look like they got much of a chance, does it?
How about that ambulance?
A couple of officers there now. Guess they're looking after him. Let's check the driver.
How about it, Joe?
Well, that ambulance better get here quick.
Yeah?
He isn't going to last long. The ambulance arrived, and the injured men were removed to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. The police garage sent out a wrecker, and the damaged vehicles were removed. The intersection was cleaned of the gasoline and oil, and inside of an hour and a half, the coroner was handling traffic as usual. The only indication of the wreck left on the scene was a broken hubcap lying in a puddle of dirty water in the gutter. 2 police officers had been seriously injured in the accident. Frank and I checked the immediate neighborhood for witnesses. We found a newspaper vendor who had a stand a block from the scene. He identified himself as George Kennedy. He told us what he knew of the wreck.
I saw the whole thing.
Yes, sir. If you tell us what you saw, please.
Well, my stand is just up the street there. So you can see it on the corner.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was checking stock. A lot of new magazines came in this morning. I was going through them. You know, marking them up, going through them.
Yes, sir.
I was just standing there fixing up the new magazines when all of a sudden I heard these sirens. Sounded like they're coming from all directions.
I see.
Then I saw that their ambulance coming down 7th Street. I stopped what I was doing to see where the ambulance was going, and I heard the crash. Terrible.
Did you see the accident, Kennedy?
Well, not at first, no. I saw it right after I heard the brakes. I didn't really see it at first, you know, just after I heard the brakes. And then I looked up and saw what was happening, and I started to run down there.
Mm-hmm.
Saw the cars all smashed up. Right after that, I saw you guys come up, and then the other ambulance. And that's about all. Nothing more I can tell you, I guess. Anything I can do to help? Anything at all?
No, sir.
How about the officers in the car? Are they all right? I heard one of them was dead. Any truth in that?
No, sir. Both of them are in pretty bad shape.
Awful thing to happen. Biggest crash I ever saw. Just awful.
Well, thanks, Kennedy, for your help.
No, it wasn't anything. Glad to do what I could. Anything else I can do, if you guys just let me know.
All right, Kennedy. Thanks very much.
Oh, not at all. Glad to do it. Sure, terrible thing. No need for it. Such a waste.
Yes, sir.
If they die, it'll almost seem like they're murdered, won't it?
Yes, sir. From here, it looks that way. Frank and I drove back to the office. We checked with the doctor at the P&F ward at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. The doctor told us that the injured officers were still in critical condition and as yet had not regained consciousness. We checked with the complaint board, and the officer who'd answered the call about the supposed bank robbery told us that he thought that the caller was the same suspect we were looking for. With Captain Didion and Captain Hagenbaugh in communications, we worked out a plan to attempt to apprehend the caller. The next time he put in a call, the officer answering the complaint would attempt to keep him on the line with questions regarding the complaint until we could get to the vicinity and start a search for him. We would be notified by a hotshot call immediately. 2 days passed without the caller making a move. On Saturday, May 8th, we got a call from Georgia Street Receiving Hospital.
Yeah, Doc. Uh-huh. Well, how about the families? They've been told yet? Uh-huh. Well, I imagine they're pretty happy about it, huh? Yeah, well, thanks for letting us know. Right, Doc. Bye.
Doc Hall?
Yeah. Both officers are going to be okay. They're doing what they can for him.
Hot shot. Well, maybe we can do something for him. Suspect's on the phone now. The caller had told the officer on the complaint board that he wanted to report an attempted robbery at the corner of 6th and Spring Streets. He said there was a shooting as the operator of the store involved had tried to stop the holdup man. The man on the phone had requested police assistance and the dispatching of an ambulance to the scene. The officer so far had managed to keep the caller on the phone while he let us know of the call. Another officer had called the store and verified that there was no holdup as reported. Frank and I left the office and proceeded to the area code 2. We felt that if the suspect heard the siren of a unit, it might alarm him and we'd lose him. We arrived at the corner 4 minutes after we'd gotten the hot shot. Frank took one side of the street and I took the other. We worked our way down 6th Street, spotting all of the stores with public telephones. It took us a little over 3 minutes to cover the street for 1 block east. We met back at the corner and started down Spring Street. As time went on, our chances of the suspect staying on the phone dwindled. 12 minutes had passed since the suspect had placed the call. I was covering the east side of Spring Street, and I was almost to the corner of 7th when I walked into a store to check the phone booth just inside the door. The voice was familiar. It was George Kennedy, the proprietor of the corner newsstand.
Sure, I can see you. No, my name don't matter. All that counts is you get an ambulance here right away. You don't, this poor man's going to bleed to death. Well, certainly, he's right here, right in the same room.
All right, come on out of there.
Hey, what's this all about?
Come on out of that phone booth.
What right you got to tell me what to do?
No, don't hang up that phone, Kennedy.
You got no business breaking into my phone call.
All right, you come out of that booth, will you, right now? Now, stand right there. Hello. Yeah. No, this is Friday. Yeah, we got him. Uh-huh. Yeah, well, as soon as I pick up Smith, we'll be right in. Hold it up, Kennedy! Stop that man! Hey, stop him! Hey, mister, what's the car?
You all right, mister?
Yeah, did you see where that old man went?
No. Sorry, mister. He ran in the crowd over there. I wasn't watching him. I thought sure you were going to get hit by that car.
Hey, Joe! What are you doing out in the middle of the street?
Well, I had him. It's George Kennedy, the guy with the newsstand.
You mean the guy we talked to the other day?
That's right.
Well, at least we know who we're after. That's a help.
Yeah, maybe. We got to get him fast now.
Yeah?
He knows we're after him. We went back to our unit and got out a broadcast on George Kennedy. After that, we checked the immediate neighborhood, but we were unable to find the suspect. We checked at his newsstand, but the people in the surrounding stores were unable to give us the exact address where he lived. We arranged for a stakeout on the newsstand, then we went back to the city hall and called the city clerk. We asked him to check the records for the license issued to Kennedy. The clerk's office told us they would check their files immediately and call us back. We ran the name George Kennedy through R&I, but he had no previous criminal record. We checked with Captain Didion while we waited for the call back from the city clerk's office. I got it. Robbery Friday. Yeah? Who? Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hello. That's all we need.
What is it?
That was Kennedy. Says he knows we want him, and he said we better forget all about it, that we'll never get him.
Yeah?
Says we might as well give up.
listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this?
The first choice of young America, according to a recent survey made in 274 colleges. Chesterfield.
The first cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield.
The cigarette with highest quality, proven by chemical analyses to have higher quality than the 5 other leading brands. Chesterfield.
And first, to give you this report. A doctor has been making thorough examinations of a group of Chesterfield smokers every 2 months for a full year. And he reports no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield. Try Chesterfield. Buy a carton. Much milder Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy.
A local broadcast was gotten out on Kennedy. The city clerk called back and gave us the home address listed on his application for a vendor's license. We checked out the address, a rooming house on 9th Street, and the landlady told us that Kennedy was not at home, that she hadn't seen him all day. She was able to give us the address of his sister, and after Frank and I arranged for a stakeout on the rooming house, we drove over to see the sister. She lived in a small frame house in the Hollywood area.
I suppose I knew that it had to happen. I guess there wasn't any way to avoid it.
Ma'am?
About George. He's sick. I guess you know that.
Yes, ma'am. Have you ever spent any time in an institution of any sort, would you know?
No. There were times when I thought about it. We used to talk, try to figure out what was the best thing. Somehow we just couldn't bring ourselves to do it, to commit him.
You say we, ma'am. Who do you mean?
Oh, me and Harold. Harold's my brother. He's the baby of the family. And what the doctor said, I guess, in a way, Harold's the cause of the whole thing. Way back, I mean.
Ma'am?
Well, I can't deny it. We talked to doctors about George, you know, psychologists.
Yes, ma'am.
He said that George had a compulsion complex. Came from when he was a little boy. That he resented the attention that the folks showed Harold. It's unfortunate. Harold was sickly when he was little, and he needed more attention. Guess George didn't understand.
Mm-hmm. You any idea where he might be now, ma'am?
No? You tried the place over on 9th? That's where he lives.
Yes, Miss Carroll. We checked the place. Landlady said she hadn't seen your brother all day.
Oh. Well, if he's not there, I don't know where he could be. No. I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Could you tell us if your brother had any close friends in the city? Anyone he might go to?
None at all. I'm sorry I can't be of more help.
Well, do you have a recent picture of your brother, ma'am?
Well, yes, I think I can find one for you. Why do you want it?
Well, we needed to find him, Miss Carroll.
Oh. Well, I have one that was taken this year at George's birthday party. I took it with one of those cameras that develop right away, you know.
Yes, ma'am. What if you'd be kind enough to get it for us?
Surely, I think it's in the desk. I'll get it for you.
Thank you.
Oh, excuse me a minute.
Surely.
Hello? Oh, yes. What? Uh-huh, they're here now. I don't know what to think. Yes. Yes, I know, but it's too late for that now. The important thing is to find him before he does something more. Yeah. Well, I'll call you back. I don't want to keep the officers waiting. All right, bye. That was Harold. He heard about George.
Mm-hmm. It's possible your brother might go over to his place.
No, that's the last place he'd go.
What if you could give us his address, please?
Well, sure, I can give it to you. I know that George wouldn't go there, though.
Why are you so sure, ma'am?
I told you about the birthday party. Well, George and Harold were there, just a family sort of thing. At least it started out that way. The way it finished was awful. George and Harold got into a big fight. They were always arguing.
What if you get that picture for us now, Miss Carroll?
Oh, yes, right away. It's here someplace. Harold just said that we should have put George in an institution a long time ago. We should have had him helped. I guess he's right. This is all my fault.
Why do you say that, ma'am?
Well, it was me that didn't want George committed. I was the one who fought against it. I was so sure that everything would work out all right. Oh, here it is.
Yes, ma'am.
That's George. He's got a paper hat on. He's come out of one of those little snapper things. George liked things like that, kid things. I guess he never grew up.
Yes, ma'am.
Always lived in a dream world. Made it up himself. Thought that everybody was persecuting him, that people were after him. It's so silly it wasn't true.
I'm afraid it is, ma'am.
What?
We're after him. We got the address of George Kennedy's brother, and Frank and I drove over to talk to him. He told us that he didn't have the slightest idea where his brother might be. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout on homes of the sister and the brother in the event that Kennedy might try to contact them. 6:30 p.m. We met with Captain Gillian and a psychiatrist from Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. The psychiatrist said that after hearing our report on Kennedy's actions, that he might have a strong compulsion complex. And as a result of events that morning, he could have a violent resentment of any type of authority. 2 days passed. We got more leads and we ran them down. They went no place. Tuesday, May 11th, 12:51 a.m. I get it. Robbery Friday. Yes, ma'am. When was that? Yeah. All right, Miss Carroll, we'll take care of it. Yes, ma'am. Right away, thank you. It's Kennedy's sister. Says he just called her.
Yeah?
Said he was over by Westlake Park, that he was going to commit suicide. a.m. We called the complaint board and told them what had happened. They contacted all available units and asked them to proceed to Westlake Park, Code 2. Frank and I drove to the area. By the time we got there, several units had responded to the call. As yet, none of them had seen Kennedy. From the bridge on Wilshire, 2 men had been watching the lake, and up to the time we got there, they'd seen no activity on the surface of the water. 1:30 a.m. Frank and I started to go through the park. A heavy fog had risen from the lake, and visibility was dropping fast.
You see anything?
No. Now, let's head down toward the lake, huh?
Yeah.
This way.
Gee, it's getting cold. I should have worn a heavier coat.
Hold it a minute. See him?
Yeah. Just sitting there. Doesn't see us, though.
All right. You take him from that side. I'll go this way. Watch it, huh?
Right.
Who's there? Who is it? I know you're there. Who is it? I got a gun. Now you come any closer and I'm going to shoot. I can see you, you know. I can see you. You get away from here. You get away right now or I'm going to shoot. All right, I warned you.
Put that gun down, Kennedy.
Yeah, I knew you were there. I knew it. You thought you could sneak up on me and get me and I wouldn't know it, huh? That's what you thought, ain't it? Huh? Ain't it?
Nobody's trying to sneak up on you, Kennedy. Nobody's trying to hurt you.
Yeah, that's what you say, but I know different. I know. Who are you? Come on, I know anyway, so you might as well tell me. Who are you?
You know who I am, George. Joe Friday. I'm your friend. Now, you know that, don't you?
Ain't anybody that's my friend. Ain't anybody. Nobody I can trust. Why should I trust you? Come on, tell me. Why should I trust you? You're a cop, ain't you? Ain't you?
You know that, George. We met before. You know I'm your friend, too, don't you?
No, you ain't. You ain't my friend. You want to take me away and lock me up.
It's not true, George. I just want to talk to you. Just sit and talk, that's all.
You stay away from me. I'm not going to tell you again. I don't want you near me.
Now, take it easy, George.
No, you ain't going to get me. I'm going to get away from you. Away from all of you.
All right, wait a minute.
Yeah. I know all about you. I know you ain't going to get me. I can't swim. Somebody help me. Help.
All right, Kennedy, take it easy. All right, come on now. You're all right. You're all right. Come on. Come on, get up here. Now, you're all right.
Ain't anybody that understand. Ain't anybody.
You okay, Joe?
Yeah.
I'll shake him. He's clean.
I couldn't even get a gun. Couldn't even get a gun. Never could do anything right. Just nothing never went right. Wasn't anybody that understood. Nobody that knew what I wanted. Nobody cared about me. Nobody cared.
You're wrong about that.
Huh?
We do.
The story you've just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On September 21st, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. I sure hope you were listening real close to what George Fenneman had to say tonight, because it proves what I always tell you. You can't beat the premium quality you get in Chesterfield, regular or king size. I'd like you to try Chesterfields. They're much milder, and they have a wonderful taste.
The case of George Hoyt Kennedy was referred to the city attorney. Due to the mental condition of the suspect, the case was then referred to the psychopathic detail at Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. After due process in Superior Court, the suspect was committed to a mental institution for treatment.
Ladies and gentlemen, we wish to thank the editors and readers of TV Radio Mirror magazine for their awards to Dragnet, and their 6th annual award issue now on sale at your newsstand.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Herb Ellis, Ralph Moody. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield's. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfield much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Now, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for natural filtering. Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. So remember, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima. See how smooth they are.
Remember, Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Lyon, Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb starred as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for trouble, suspense, and adventure in tonight's story of the man who liked the mountains.
This is the way it started. It was about 6 o'clock last Monday night. I was home cooling myself off when the phone began jumping around on top of the desk.
Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
This is Melody. Mr. Lyon calling.
I'm out. You can't find me.
That's no attitude. Here he is.
Hey, Melody.
Regan, I got a job for you to do.
You can tell me all about it tomorrow morning. So long.
Now, wait a minute. It's got to be taken care of now, tonight.
Look, I worked hard all day. I'm tired.
I told
Get
you
somebody
to be
else.
there in 15 minutes. Now, take this down. Office Taft Building right by your place. He's an attorney. Name of Collins Knight.
Collins Knight. What rock did you look under for him?
Now, don't be smart just because the guy serves little time once.
And gets himself disbarred and re-entered and tied up with every piece of gambling from here to Reno.
I'm not interested in who they are, what they've done, as long as they can pay the bills. And Collins Knight is just the baby who can do it. So hop over there and find out what's what. And call me if you run into any trouble.
Collins Knight, attorney at law, Taft Building. Turned out to be a medium-sized man, about 50, in a loud tan sport coat and black and white polka dot tie. The good tailoring on his shoulders didn't cover up that 45-year-old stomach, but it didn't seem to bother him. He smiled when I walked in his office, pulled out a bottle of bonded stuff and a couple of tall glasses.
Sit down, Regan. Make yourself comfortable. Say when.
When?
I'm a four-finger man, too. Yeah. Here's to you. Cigar?
I don't use them.
You don't mind if I do. Yeah. Now then. I asked you to come here because I want you to find Big Ed Kittredge for me. Been missing 3 days, according to his wife.
From pictures, I seen a Big Ed. He'd be a hard man to miss.
Yeah, I figure the same way, Regan, but he's been gone for 3 days, and I think someone's either cooled him off or he's lammed.
Why do you think somebody cooled him?
Oh, a man like Big Ed's bound to have a lot of enemies, for one reason or another.
Why do you think he lammed?
For one reason or another.
Friend or enemy?
Neither. I just know the guy. It's one of my people. I handle a couple things for him. His wife is worried about him.
I didn't know people like Big Ed had wives.
Well, they do. At least Ed does, and a darn cute little girl she is. Inez. Yes, very pretty little girl.
Tell me about him.
He's gone.
What about his wife? Where'd he meet her? When'd he marry her? I gotta have something.
I don't know.
Well, I'll have to see her.
Okay, see her.
You don't much care whether I find Big Ed or not, do you?
Nope.
Thanks for the drink.
You don't like me, do you, Regan?
No.
Well, most people don't. So long, Shamus. Keep in touch.
The name on the door said Mr. and Mrs. Edward Kittredge. It was a clean door in a clean hall with a nice new carpet on the third floor of an apartment house over on Franklin. I figured $100 and up for a bachelor. She was pretty. Red hair, the mahogany kind. Green eyes. 24, maybe. But she could look 16, just coming off the beach and wearing those gold sandals.
Yes?
Miss Kittredge?
Hi, my name's Kittredge.
My name's Regan. I'm a private detective. Collins Knight hired me. He said your husband's missing.
Oh, come in, Mr. Regan.
I told him I'd want to talk to you. Okay if I sit down?
Oh, of course. I'm sorry, Mr. Regan.
Can you tell me anything about him? His friends? Business?
You ever heard of Big Ed Kittredge?
Oh, yeah. He's been around. Makes the papers now and then.
You know what kind of friends he might have.
What about his business?
I love Mr. Regan. I was hopping cars in Glendale a few years ago. The movie contract they brought me out from Iowa to keep wasn't anything more than a lot of talk. And I had to eat. One day, a big man came in. I waited on him.
Big Ed.
Yeah. After that, he kept coming in. I began going out with him. When he asked me to marry him, I married him. I didn't ask him what he did for a living or how he spent his time. He was good to me. He's always been good to me. Now he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been gone more than 5 hours since we were married. He gave me everything, done everything for me.
And you don't ask questions?
And I don't ask questions. But there's one thing.
Yeah?
Yeah, our partner here, the man named Axman, was here 2 nights ago. That was the night Ed left. He'd never come back.
Axman?
Yeah. Ed was in the kitchen. I was in the bedroom. I thought I heard him quarrel, and when I came out, Axman had his hat in his hand. He was leaving. Ed went with him.
Mm-hmm. That it?
Well, yeah, that's it. I ain't seen him since then. Think anything's happened to him? You think he's all right?
I think you ought to tell me the truth.
What?
All the pictures I seen in the paper of Big Ed Kittredge were of a big man with a pipe in his face. I don't see any pipe racks around here, but I see where they might have been.
Why, you...
And if I went to a closet, I bet I wouldn't find any of Ed's clothes around here either. Now, come on. Tell me about that argument.
All right, you win, Peter. The same thing we've been arguing about for 3 years. He drinks too much. He plays the horses too much. And besides, he socked me.
Mm-hmm. Go on.
All right, fine. I got fed up. Told him to get out.
Only now you want him back. Why?
Just long enough to serve him some divorce papers and get a property settlement.
I thought it'd be something like that.
Oh, no, wait a minute, Regan. Wait a minute. About Axman, I wasn't lying. He hates Ed, even if they are partners. Something from the old days. Axman walked in when Ed and me was having our knockdown. He saw it all. If he wanted to bump Ed, he could do it. Somehow he'd fix it so it looked like I'd done it. He's a crime.
You think he'd make a good witness?
Well, Axman's a smart guy. Just the doorman and the clerk downstairs, they heard Ed and me arguing. We get kind of loud. I might have said something about killing Ed. Sure make me look sick if Ed turned up dead somewhere.
Yeah, it would.
You gonna help me?
I'm already hired, lady.
Thanks, Peter, thanks. Sorry I put on that ad.
You were pretty good. Wrong props, that's all. I'd try that studio again if I were you.
Yeah? They're a bunch of slobs. They wouldn't give no gal a break.
Maybe you're right.
You ain't bad for a peeper. When this is all over, let's you and me have a drink somewhere or something, huh?
Yeah, something.
I'd like to meet a nice guy. A real nice guy, just once. Just once.
2 minutes later, in front of the apartment house, I was lighting a cigarette and thinking over what Inez Kittredge had just told me when a soft hand belonging to the soft arm, body, and face of a little thug I knew named Louis Pacheco settled on my arm.
Regan.
All right, punk, what is it?
I've been waiting for you, Regan. Been with Big Ed's wife, huh? Nice dish, huh? I seen her. I got some business with you, Regan.
Yeah?
Yeah. You're looking for Big Ed Kittredge, ain't you?
Maybe.
Yeah, then I could tell you something that'll help.
All right, go on, tell me.
Now, without you giving me something for the trouble.
How much can you tell me?
Maybe what Big Ed is.
Okay, 5.
What? Tell somebody else.
Suit yourself, punk.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Regan.
Well?
He shagged up the mountain town, yeah. Has a place up there called Hideaway. And not many people know about it, not even his wife. Yeah. He went up with a guy named Axman 3 days ago. He's got some slot machines and stuff like that up around there.
That all?
Yeah, that's enough for you, Gumshoe.
Okay. Here.
Keep it. I don't need your lousy sawbuck. Keep it, you chiseled cheapskate. Cheapskate.
I don't care what kind of people are involved. I told you that before, and I'm telling you again. If they play rough, let them do it, just so we get paid.
All right, fatso. Then get yourself somebody else to take over. I quit.
No. Just a minute, Regan. Just a minute. Let's not fly off the handle about this thing. Not be hasty.
They're a bunch of bums, and you know it.
Well, now perhaps I was a bit indiscreet accepting a client like Collins Knight with his reputation and all that.
And it isn't only him. It's the man I'm supposed to find and his friend Axman and anybody else who knows him.
Now, Jeffrey, I'm sure that a man of your talents could locate Ed Kittredge without any trouble. After all, Jeffrey, you've dealt with people like this before and always handled it admirably. Very admirably.
I don't like it. Knight hires me to find Big Ed Kittredge. Only he doesn't care whether I find him or not. Big Ed's wife only wants to find him so she can slap a court order on him. And both of them tell me that Big Ed might be dead.
Well, now let's not jump at their conclusions, Jeffrey. I'll have to admit the whole thing looks fishy. Jeffrey, I want you to find Big Ed Kittredge as soon as you can.
Look, I just told you that.
I know, but the fact of the matter is, I have an agreement with Knight in writing.
You have
and
what?
You know what kind of a man he is. He's very tricky. He could close International if we don't stay on this case. If you don't stay on the case.
Okay, you win.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Expenses?
Of course.
I'll drive up to Mountain Town. I might find Big Ed up there.
Of course. Be careful, Jeffrey. Be careful and...
Oh, don't give me that phony line about calling you.
Now, Regan.
Yeah?
Call me if you run into any trouble.
How far to Mountain Town?
You're here, Pilgrim. This is it. That black place over there's the lake. And that black place over there's the town. Cabins round the lake. No one round the town. Fill her up?
Yeah, fill her up. Where can I get some coffee? I've been driving half the night.
30 feet to your right and inside the door. Janie will fix you up. We're open all night.
Thanks.
No trouble? No trouble at all?
You better look at that oil.
Glad to.
Tires and water.
Glad to.
You can move it if you want to. I'll be in getting coffee.
Don't worry. Don't get enough business at 1 a.m. to stay open. I'm going to talk to the boss about it someday.
Hey.
Here you are, Thomas. I'm coming. Why do you want to hit the counter like that for? Well, I thought you was Eve. I didn't know it was a customer.
Who's Eve?
Him. Eve Holton that runs the station. What's yours?
What's my what?
Name?
Well, as long as we're being formal, it's Regan. Jeff Regan. Oh, you're Janie.
Well, say, How'd you know that?
Eve.
He told you. Well, say.
How about some coffee, Janie? Huh?
Oh, sure. You been traveling far, Mr. Regan?
From Los Angeles.
Going far?
Right here.
This stump. You don't tell me you're going to be here this summer.
Little while.
Well, say. I'm off in an hour. I got a little cabin on the other side of the lake.
Oh, that's nice. Do much fishing?
Fishing? You're cute.
Yes, I am. No, thanks. I'll take it black.
Oh, what you going to do here?
Look for a man.
Yeah? Say, what man?
You might be able to help me, Janie. A cottage called Hideaway. Man named Kittredge.
Big Ed Kittredge, you a friend of his?
Car's all ready, Pilgrim.
Thanks.
Janie, don't you think you ought to go see how the fire's doing?
What fire?
Make one.
All right, Eve, all right. Do you think as a girl takes a job slinging hair, she has to listen to a lot of balloons and maybe she's like you working the phone?
Janie's too friendly.
I like friendly people. Keep the car here, will you? I'm looking for a Hideaway cottage, and I don't see any road going around the lake there. I guess I'll have to hoof it.
Hideaway? East shore of the lake. About half a mile from here. You're right, there's no road. You'll have to walk.
Thanks.
Don't mention it, Pilgrim. Don't mention it.
Well, the cottage turned out to be an all-white, phony log cabin affair. I pounded on the door. Nobody answered. There was a sick kind of oil lamp burning inside, so I pounded on the door some more, and some more people didn't answer. When I put my hand on the latch, the door opened, people or no people, so I went in. Well, you can believe this or not, but somebody was there, right in front of the fireplace, only he was dead. And one whole side of his head was dark and shining. It was still warm. Nope, you're wrong. It wasn't Big Ed Kittredge. This was a man I'd never seen before in my life.
We'll return to Jeff Regan, Investigator, in just a moment. An easy way to save for future security is by a payroll deduction of savings bonds. If you are not paid on a salary basis, you can purchase savings bonds at your nearest post office, bank, or savings and loan association office. Now is the time to ask your employer to start deducting for savings bonds or to buy a bond on your own. If no other plan is feasible, your bank will deduct enough each month from your savings or checking account to buy a savings bond. For money in the future, buy United States savings bonds. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to the story of the man who liked the mountain and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, I stood there and looked at what was left of whoever he was. Wasn't anything in his pockets. Labels, cut off his suit, no laundry marks. Then I began looking around for a poker or a hammer or something. What I found was a heavy piece of kindling wood, and one end of it was stained. Then I heard somebody come in the door. I saw striped overalls, flashlight, and .45 Colt revolver held by E. Fulton. He looked at the dead man, looked at me, looked at the piece of wood in my hand.
Dead?
Yeah.
Friend of yours?
Never saw him before in my life.
I did.
Yeah?
Name's Axman. Tom Axman. Friend of Big Ed Kittredge.
Friend?
Why'd you kill him? I'll just take your gun. Safer this way.
You always wrap a gun in a handkerchief?
Only when I want to keep fingerprints on it. Evidence.
So it's that way?
It's that way.
You kill him?
You did. There was a big fight. You conked him with that piece of wood, then shot him in the head. I saw it.
My gun, my bullets, that's pretty neat. But he was still killed with this. Who's going to be able to tell? A good coroner? We got a lousy coroner out here. He don't know from nothing. That makes me the fall guy. You're it, Pilgrim. Let's go find ourselves a cop. Eve waved his gun at me, and I started ahead of him for the door. Oh, he was good at doing frame-ups, and he was good at running things, but he was only an amateur when it came to pushing a man with a gun. I waited to feel it in my back. By the time I got to the door, it was there, and that was his mistake. I shoved him up against the wall. He didn't drop the gun. Before he could do anything, I was running for the black place that he told me was the lake.
Come back here, Regan! Come back here!
I ran till I was out of breath.
What? Who is it? Who's there?
Take it easy, Jane. It's me.
Huh? Oh, Mr. Regan, it's you. Hey, listen, he's looking everywhere for you.
I know.
He says you killed a man, Tom Axman, over in Kittredge's cabin.
I know.
But you didn't kill him, I know that.
Yeah?
Come on, we can't talk here. Someone will see us. This is my place. Boy, I got some things to tell you, Mr. Regan. I don't like this place, and I don't like Eve Holden, and I don't like anything that's been going on. You got to get out of here. Get out fast. Come on in. Look, I quit my job tonight. I didn't want to get mixed up in any of this.
Any of what?
This killing and... Gee, I don't know what all. Oh, I better pull the curtain. Someone might see in here. This is a scary place.
You say you know I didn't kill Axman. How?
Well, I've been working in Mountain Town a couple of weeks now, and I've seen a lot of screwy things.
Like what?
Like Eve Holton. He works for Big Ed Kittredge. And Big Ed ain't no saint.
Have you seen Big Ed?
I mean, he drove up a couple of nights with that Tom Axman. I think Ed killed him.
Yeah?
They'd been drinking a lot, and they both talked kind of loud to Eve. And Big Ed and Axman went over to the cabin. I didn't think anything of it till they didn't show up for something to eat the next morning. Ain't nothing to eat in that cabin.
That helps, Janie. Go on.
Well, Eve's been going up around that mountain, taking a look every day, for no reason at all.
Yeah, sure he has. Only he isn't looking at the mountain.
Scared. Look, mister, my jalopi's out in back of the filling station. Just take me with you. I'll tell everything I heard and seen, and we can let some cops figure out all that. Hey, what's that?
It was a hand firing a gun at her. It figured to be my gun. I hit the oil lamp and went down on the floor. Then I heard somebody outside on the porch. I crawled in the dark till I found a wall and a window. It wouldn't open, so I took half of it with me.
Hey, what is this?
Come here, you. Now, look, punk. I just drove 85 miles in 100 minutes. 7 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't been to bed all night. I saw one dead man and one woman made dead.
Easy on that stuff, Regan.
And some of your playmates up at Mountain Town trying to make sure that I get hooked with it.
Now, wait a minute.
Oh, start talking, punk.
Wait a minute. What do you want me to say? I don't know nothing about no stiffs and no Mountain Town.
All right. When somebody like you comes sidling up to me and tells me where to find my man and doesn't take $5 for it, that means he's already got dough.
That's Regan.
And they only give you dough for work.
Gee whiz, Regan, you know I wouldn't mix up in no killing. I can't stand that kind of thing.
Punk, who paid you to tell me to go to Mountain Town? Who paid you to send me up there and make a patsy out of me?
Let go. Let go. I'll tell you, Regan. I'll tell you. It was Knight, the lawyer. Yeah, Collins Knight. He slipped me 50 to pay and give you the dope.
Knight. I might have known. Go on.
That's all. Honest, that's all there is to it. I take you over to Big Ed's apartment. You talk to his wife, and you know the rest.
Can I tell you why?
You know I never asked any question. I just do what I get paid for. Nobody ever let me in on something big. I didn't know it was no frame.
Okay, punk.
Listen, if Knight ever finds out I told you...
Shut up.
What are you going to do?
Hi, Regan. Hard night, huh?
He made me tell him. He made me tell him, Mr. Knight.
Sure, Regan. Don't worry about it. I got up early, Regan. Kind of figured you'd be looking up the punk here. He phoned from Mountain Town, said you lammed out on him twice. You're a pretty tough boy, aren't you? Here, punk. Buy yourself something and forget you ever saw Regan, okay?
Oh, sure, Mr. Knight, sure.
Okay, Regan? Let's get going. Got a long drive ahead of us.
I'll be able to drive it blindfolded someday.
Someday.
I'm still your patsy.
Mm-hmm. I take you back there and we call a cop. Now, come on. Eve will be getting anxious.
can't say I didn't find my man. Even if I did find him sitting in that same cabin with a couple of corpses on the floor. Big Ed Kittredge. He needed a shave. He was sitting there looking at Axman's body, and Janie. I guess Eve had brought her over from her place. Eve was there, too, holding my gun against Big Ed's back. Was still wrapped in that handkerchief.
Night, I thought you'd never get here. Come on, let's get this over with.
Now, don't be nervous, Eve. Ed, I want you to meet Jeff Regan. He killed you.
Hiya, Bill. You're the fall guy, huh? Tough luck.
Where'd you find it?
Where I said I'd find him, at the punks.
Still using my gun to kill people?
Not quite finished, Pilgrim. 2 down, 1 to go. Very easy to figure.
I'm next, huh?
Yeah, sorry, Ed. It has to be business. Me and Eve will take over where you and Axman leave off.
Hey, Bo, we're going to let him rub me out and pin all this on you, or we're going to do something about it?
Take it easy, Ed.
I think we ought to do something about it.
Well, what you need from me?
Big Ed was good. He stopped the first 2 slugs from Eve's gun, and the first 2 out of Knight's. By that time, I got a hold of a poker, and I brought it into Knight's face. He looked kind of sick and went down without a sound. When I looked around, Big Ed was twisting a gun from Eve's hand. Blood pouring from 4 holes in his chest.
So you ain't so easy at that, huh? Guess the frame won't work now.
Where's your phone around here? I'll get you a doc.
Well, Sawbone's gonna help me. Save yourself the trouble. I never knew they burned like this. What's your name? Oh.
Regan. I'm a private detective with International.
Oh? Lions still run that dump?
Yeah, he's there.
Old bum, ain't he? Night, hire you to find me?
Yeah.
He's real tricky. Well, they ain't making a patsy out of you anyhow. Look, Regan, I done you a favor. Fix the deal for me, will you?
Sure, Ed, sure.
I got a wife named Inez.
Met her.
Pretty, huh? Look, tell her I wasn't sore. I didn't really leave it. I just came up here to let her cool off. I kind of like the mountain. That's why I had a place.
Sure, I'll tell her.
Oh, this is a bunk, ain't it? Regan.
I'm here, Ed.
You found me, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lion's Eye. $2 says Lions won't give you no bonus for it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Well, I called the sheriff, who had a face like a boiled beet. He listened to the whole thing, and then we kind of pieced it out together. You see, the day I got there, Big Ed killed Axman. I guess they got into some kind of an argument, and Ed picked up a piece of kindling wood. About that time, Eve Holton showed up and saw what had happened, and he figured he had something. So he pulled a gun on Ed and stuck him in a cellar somewhere. Then he phoned Knight down in Los Angeles. It was a good chance for Knight and Eve to take over, so they figured to kill Ed and get a fall guy for both murders. That was me. Didn't come out quite that way. Eve had to kill Janie, too. All with my gun. You know the rest. Oh, Lion cashed Knight's check. He was happy.
Hey, that sheriff up there's going to call you for the coroner's inquest this afternoon.
Yeah, I know.
Technical charge of manslaughter. Yeah, they'll clear you in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
So, Bill, did he? Imagine that big crook. Hey, where you going? Remember, you got to be up in Mountain Town this afternoon.
I'll be there. I got to go over and see Big Ed's wife first. He asked me to tell her something.
Big Ed's wife?
That's right.
Forget it, Regan. She's glad he's dead, same as everybody else.
I'm going over to see Big Ed's wife.
Why do you want to go sticking your nose back into it?
Because Ed was dying and he asked me to do it.
Lots of guys ask for lots of screwy things when they're dying. They wouldn't bring them up unless they were sure they didn't have to stick around and see what had happened. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Where you going?
Over to see Big Ed's wife.
At no time in our nation's history has it been more important to develop an outstanding Army medical department. Without an adequate nurse corps, this can't be accomplished. And nurses are still needed to fill the estimated requirements for 1948. If you are a graduate registered nurse over 21 and under 45, you're invited to apply for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. If you are selected, you may choose either active duty or inactive status. Apply to the Adjutant General, Washington 25, D.C. Jack Webb is starred as Jeff Regan, with Wilms Herbert as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS same time next week for hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Also heard on tonight's program was Jeff Chandler, Betty Lou Gerson, Edgar Barrier, William Conrad, Sidney Miller, and Laurette Philbrand. Jeff Regan, Investigator is written by E. Jack Newman, produced and directed by Sterling Tracy, with original music by Dick Arant. If you like mystery, here Find That Clue with Mystery Master Ken Crossan quizzing the top mystery writers of Hollywood and a special guest this Monday night over most of these same CBS stations. Here Find That Clue Monday night 8:30 over most of these stations with Sirhan Bey. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Chesterfield. Chesterfield is best for you. First cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a burglary detail. A string of safe burglaries breaks out in your city. In the past 2 months, 35 safes have been broken into. You know there's more than one man in the operation. You've got no lead to the thieves' identity. Your job? Get him.
Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of them all.
The quality contrast between Chesterfield and other leading brands is a revealing story.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands.
Yes, Chesterfield is first, with premium quality in both regular and king size.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, August 18th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 1:34 p.m. when we got to the second floor of the Central Jail building, the crime lab.
Couldn't sleep last night. Faye and I had another beef.
Oh, what about this time?
Cards, canasta.
Yeah?
Folks next door came over after dinner and we got to playing. They play real good.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't long before we were really getting schlocked.
What?
Schlocked. Beaten.
Oh.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Last hand, they go down right away, Joe. Seemed like everything I threw them they could use. Picked up everything. I couldn't do anything right. Just kept building up mells, they did. Big thing for us was to get out as quick as we could. Get the hand over with.
Yeah.
Faye wasn't doing any good. Finally, I still don't know how they let it happen. I got enough points to go down, so I asked Faye if it's okay.
Uh-huh.
You have to do that, ask your partner's permission to get the hand over.
Yeah.
You know that?
Well, I've played it a couple of times. Yeah, with you, remember?
Oh, that's right. Well, you might not believe it, but you know what she said? No. Just sat there and said she didn't think it was time.
Is that right?
Yeah. I know it's kind of picky, but there they were, the other kids just piling up points, schlocking us all over the place.
Schlocking.
Yeah, hand went around a couple of more times. Each time I asked Faye if she wants to get out. Each time, you know what she says?
No.
That's it. No.
Well, what finally happened?
Oh, the other folks ran out of cards. Wasn't any more play, so they got out. 3,600 points. And I found out why Faye didn't want to quit.
Why?
Had a deuce.
What?
A deuce, a 2,
Yeah.
Well, she said she didn't want to get caught with it.
Yeah, well, we better get started, huh?
Wait a minute, that's not the worst of it, let me tell you.
All right.
All night we're playing, see, all night. I'm saving cards, I like tens. Like to get tens. I save tens.
Yeah, I guess everybody saves tens.
Well, I save more than other guys. We get all through, and you know what? We find out there are only 7 tens in the deck. One of them's missing. All night, there's 7 tens.
Well, that's dreadful.
Well, I tell you.
You were schlocked.
Schlocked.
Didn't sleep a wink.
Friday?
Yeah, right.
Back here. Girls out to lunch. Come on back.
Hi, how's it going, Ray?
Moving around, that's about all. Hot out, huh?
Yeah, paper says it's going to go over 90 today.
Too hot for me.
Yeah. Well, how you coming on the job this morning?
Just finishing up. Looks like the rest of them.
Yeah.
Got some pictures here. Take a look. Here's pictures of the marks they left on the door this morning.
Mm-hmm.
See those 2 long scratches on the wood?
Yeah, here?
Yeah, now, over here, here's a picture from the Argosy Manufacturing Company's door.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yeah.
Same 2 marks. Pretty safe bet to figure that both doors are open with the same pry bar.
Yeah, same type of entrance made this time, huh?
Yeah, just the 1 mark on the door. You know what they're doing. Insert the bar, hit it once, and the door opens.
Mm-hmm. How about the safe? What do you got on that, Ray?
Here. This is the picture we got of the room, same as the others. Standard rip job, nothing different there.
How about marks?
No help there. Here's the pictures. Looks like the same tool that was used on the other jobs.
Did you find anything else, Ray?
No. At least nothing that helps. Leighton Prince picked up a couple from the safe, belonged to the manager of the place. Nothing else that gives us anything.
No, I'd say that was the same bunch.
Yeah, either that or they're lending their tools to the boys in the neighborhood.
Yeah, well, that isn't likely. Cigarette, Ray?
Yeah, thanks.
Right?
Here's the light. Ray?
Thanks. Really leaning on you guys for this one, huh?
Yeah, Skipper's taking a lot of heat.
What's this make for him? 34, 35?
35, 6 months.
Got any nearer to him?
No, not much.
Got anything to tell how many men there are?
It'd be hard to say for sure. The way they work figures about 3 or 4, maybe.
Yeah, that's the way it looks.
Take that number to pull off the operation as smooth as they're doing it, though, Ray.
You got anything at all to work on?
Well, we checked around town. There aren't any rumbles. One of the tightest gangs that we've seen in a long time. Doesn't seem like anybody outside knows what's going on.
We checked the places around. Nobody's spending a lot of money they can't account for.
How much did they take so far?
Well, what they got this morning, let's see, it comes to a little under $36,000, isn't it, Frank?
Yeah. What about you, Ray? You turn up anything we can use?
Nothing that points anyplace. We know how they got in, how they hit the safe. That isn't going to help much. Same M.O. as the others. You haven't got any idea who they are, huh?
No, nothing.
Have any idea who they are, we could maybe use the anthracene on their tools.
That's great. We've got to find the tools before we use that. We got no idea where they plant them.
Mm-hmm. Seems that one of your informants would be able to come up with something on it.
Yeah, you'd think so. We've checked them all, Ray. No leads to the gang. Doesn't seem there's anybody in town that knows who they are.
Anybody new operating around?
No, we checked that out, too. We had the stats office make so many runs that they're wearing out the cards. MO isn't new. It's been used before, but all the possibles have been checked out. Stuff from Brereton up at CII, the other lead from the APBs, they've all been cleared. Now, we got just what we started with, the gang working when they want to, where they want to, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Well, I wish there was more I could do to help out.
Yeah.
I got to get back to work. Got some precipitant test homicide wants this afternoon.
Yeah, well, we'll see you later, Ray.
Right. You want this stuff booked?
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Okay. Excuse me a minute.
Yeah.
Crime lab, Pinker. Yeah? Yeah, they're both here. Which one? Yeah, hold on. Joe?
Yeah?
You, office.
Thanks. Friday. Oh, yeah, Chandler. Uh-huh. Wendy called. Yeah, well, what's that number? 4? Right. Yeah, I'll call him right away. Right. Bye.
Chandler, huh?
Yeah, Don Jackson called, said he wanted to get in touch with us.
Jackson? Doesn't ring any bells.
It's the guy we pinched last month. Remember? Looked like the guy who was in on the service station jobs.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Guy with a waxed mustache, huh?
Mm-hmm. Hello. Don Jackson? Well, could I speak to him, please? Don, it's Joe Friday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's 1:47 now. Take us about 10 minutes. How about 2? All right, fine. Yeah, we know where it is. Right. We'll see you there. All right, bye.
What's he want?
He wants to see us about the rip jobs.
Yeah?
Says he's got a rumble on him. Don Jackson had been a suspect in a series of service station burglaries we'd investigated. He'd been picked up and interrogated, but investigation showed that he couldn't have been involved in the thefts. Since he'd been released, we'd heard nothing from him, and as far as we knew, he'd gone back to his job in a downtown clothing store. From what he told me on the phone, he had some information about the current series of safe burglaries. 1:48 p.m. Frank and I left the crime lab and drove over to the store where Jackson worked. He managed to get relieved, and he took us to a small coffee shop near the store. We sat down and ordered some coffee, and Jackson told us what he knew about the burglaries.
Now, I could be wrong about this. I don't think so. But outside it could be.
Uh-huh. Donnie, you got any one reason for figuring that the Scott fella's tied in with the jobs?
Well, nothing I can put my finger on, you know. Just that the guy's never done a full day's work in his life. Don't think he knows what a callus is. Yet he's always loaded, always got a roll. It's real, too. Not like them you see sometimes with a big bill on the outside and ones in the middle. Now, this guy's loaded, you know.
Yeah. Where'd you meet him?
Well, I was sitting in a bar down the street one night, having a belt before dinner. We got to talking, ended up eating together that night.
You remember when this was, Don, when you first met him?
Well, let me see. Yeah, it was the day I got the trench coat from England. Now, let me see. That make it about August 4th. Yeah, it was the night I got the coat. Come to think of it, that's what got us a talking, the coat.
I don't understand.
Well, you see, I got this here coat. I had it sent over from England. It's a real beauty. All kinds of linings and wind straps in the sleeves. It's great, you know.
Uh-huh.
Well, I had him send this coat to the store. Got down the 4th. I had it with me that night. And Scotty noticed it, and we got to talking about clothes and went to dinner. He asked me how much a coat cost. I told him run about 40, maybe $50. He asked me if I could get one for him, and I told him sure. It'd take a couple of weeks.
Uh-huh.
Well, he asked me to send a letter to my friend Airmail Special and ask him to send the coat over by express. I told him I would, and then he asked me if I wanted to pay me then.
Yeah.
I told him no, wait till I knew just how much the coat was going to run. You know, duty and postage and all that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, he said that'd be okay with him. I saw him a couple of times after that, and every time he'd ask about the coat, I told him that was in the works, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, finally got the coat. It was beautiful. Never saw the guy again. I'm out $46. Crummy Scotty, leave me with that coat. My own money, too. $46. I don't make enough to lose that kind of money, you know.
Well, that's too bad, Jackson. But why do you figure this Scott had anything to do with the burglaries?
Well, now, I just told you. For one thing, the money. Always had a lot, but I never had a job. No place to get the money. Not only that, but one night, well, I saw him. We were going out to dinner. And he said he couldn't quite make it then. That something had come up. That he had to take a rain check, you know.
Uh-huh.
Well, I asked him what had come up, what was so important. He said he had to see a guy over in East L.A., some sort of a business deal.
You say what this deal was about?
No, he wouldn't say. The next day he shows up loaded. Got a roll on, choke a horse. Now, I asked him where'd he get it. I kid him about being one of the guys who ripped the safe in the Argosy plant.
What'd he say to that?
Nothing, just got real serious, you know. Asked me why I asked him that. What made me think he was in on the job? I kept telling him I didn't know anything about it. I was just kidding. He finally bought it and said it was okay, but he said I shouldn't go around saying things like that.
All right, go ahead.
Well, I got the coat and looked Scotty up to give it to him. Wouldn't pay for it. They lost the coat thing up or something. I don't know, set the wrong size, and I'm stuck with it. He wouldn't have anything to do with it. I figure since I ordered it for him, it ain't my fault that it's big. He should pay for it, $46. Now, any way you look at it, I laid out the dough. I figured he should make good on it. He wouldn't do it. And I got sore, and I figured that maybe you'd like to know how he acted about the Argosy job. Lousy bum. $46 that coat cost.
You know where the Scott lives?
No, I haven't got the slightest idea. But I got his phone number, though. I'll give you that.
Can you give us a description on him?
Sure, he's a sneaky little guy. No wonder the coat won't fit. Little bitty guy,
Yeah, now you say his full name is Leonard Scott, is that right?
Yeah, crummy bum. I hope you get him.
Well, we'll talk to him, Don.
If he knows something about it, I'll bet money on it he knows. Say, I don't like to bring this up, but you guys could do me a big favor,
What's that?
No, I don't suppose you could.
What is it, Don?
You know anybody could use a size 52 trench coat?
We continued to talk to Don Jackson. We got the description of Leonard Scott and his phone number. 3:15 p.m., we drove back to the city hall and checked the name through R&I. We came up with several possibles. The mug shots were pulled on them, and they were shown to Jackson. He was able to identify one of them as the man he'd told us about. The suspect had a record for burglary and had served 2 terms in the state penitentiary at San Quentin. He'd served his full term and was not on parole. We checked the last address on his convict registration card, and we found that he lived in a rooming house on West 11th Street. The phone number he'd given Jackson was the same as the one on the registration card. We drove over to talk to him. We found that he wasn't in his room, and from the landlady we learned that he was expected back around 7 that evening. We checked his room in company with the landlady, and then we called the office and told them where we were in the event they had to contact us. We waited in the living room of the house for the suspect to return. 7:15 p.m.
Joe.
Yeah. He matches the description, doesn't he? Come on. Just a minute. You Leonard Scott?
Yeah. Who are you?
Police officers like to talk to you.
What's this all about?
Be better if we went up to your room.
Oh. All right, come on up. Can't you give me some idea what this is all about?
We'll talk to you about it.
Go ahead. Open the door.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, what's the pitch?
You've been through it before. You're an ex-con. You know the pitch.
You tell us what you do for a living?
I work.
Doing what?
I'm a salesman.
What do you sell?
Different things. What's all this prove? You guys coming in here making like big men? I'm going straight. I work for a living. Now, either tell me what this is all about or get out of here.
You remember what you were doing on August 4th?
It's a long time ago.
You remember what you were doing?
You have to think about it. It's a long time ago.
All right, you take your time. We like to know.
August 4th, huh?
Yeah.
No, sorry, fellas. Can't remember a thing.
How about the 5th?
Same there?
6th?
Nothing.
How about the 7th of August?
Oh, I can give you a hand there. I had a dinner with a friend. Then we went to a show. Had a few drinks after, and then I came home.
Who's the friend?
Fella I know.
What's his name?
Why I got to tell you that?
We got to check your alibi.
What do I need an alibi for? I haven't done anything. My time's clean. I got nothing to explain to you.
Then maybe you can clear up a few things for us.
I always like to help the cops out. What do you want to know?
How come you remember what you were doing on August 7th? You got trouble with time before then, haven't you?
What's so important with the dates? Maybe if you tell me what you're after, I can help you out. You quit being cagey, maybe I can come up with the answers.
The Argosy manufacturing plant had their safe ripped open on that night. You look good for the job.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, we got a witness who tells us you showed up with a pocket full of money the next day.
You've fallen twice before for burglary.
You can't account for your time before or after the date, but you happen to have an alibi for the night of the heist.
You got no steady job, but you got plenty of money. Now, come off it, Scott. We got you nailed for the jobs, and you know it. You got a choice of giving us a hand on this thing. It'll be marked down in your favor, or you can be a big man and stand for this thing alone. It's up to you. We'll play it any way you want.
You figure you can make me for the jobs?
Looks like it won't be too tough.
You're in the middle, Scott. Why don't you cop out?
What do I get for turning pink?
I told you it'd be marked down that way.
How about it, Scott?
All right, I guess I got to go with you. I wasn't in on the jobs. I didn't really have anything to do with the casing. I helped a little bit. Not much, just a little.
Where'd you figure in it?
Once I worked as a lookout for him.
Who are they?
I can give you the names. Like to see you get 'em, lousy bunch. Hope you get 'em good. Make every one of 'em lousy bums the way they treated me.
What do you mean by that?
Big deal. Had the cops running around in circles. Big deal. Nothing. Work along with them. Everything will be fine. Big deal.
How many of them are there?
4. 4 real bums. They said they were going to take care of me. They told me I'd get my share of the money. Lousy liars. One job I was with them. After that, they told me I hadn't done enough to earn my way, that I wasn't any help to anybody.
Well, next time you see them, you can tell them.
Yeah?
They were wrong. We got the names of the 4 men who were involved in the burglaries. We took Leonard Scott down to the city hall and pulled the packages on the 4 suspects. He gave us a positive identification on them. We checked with Captain Wisdom, and it was decided to wait until we could catch the suspects in the actual attempt to commit a burglary. We checked out the address of the 4 suspects and got as much information as we could on them without letting them know that they were under surveillance. Additional teams of men were assigned to the stakeout. Each of them was watched 24 hours a day, and each of the teams of detectives were in constant contact with the burglary division. 2 days passed. None of the suspects made any attempt to make contact with the others. We met with the district attorney, and it was decided that in the interest of bringing the gang to justice, the first suspect, Leonard Scott, should be released from custody to act as an informant for us. He would be kept under constant surveillance. Frank and I were assigned to follow him. In the next 3 days, he went about his business as usual. Each evening, he'd leave his rooming house and walk through the bars in the downtown area. He told us that contact and information regarding the burglaries was made by the leader of the gang, one of the suspects named Howard Ramsey. On Monday, August 24th, we saw Ramsey approach Leonard Scott. They talked briefly in the rear of a bar on 6th Street, and then Ramsey left. We waited for about 15 minutes, and then we saw Scott leave the bar. We followed him down the street to an all-night coffee stand. We sat down next to him at the counter, and at the first opportunity, he told us what Ramsey had said.
You guys haven't got long to wait.
What'd he say?
Deal's set. It's going to be a machine shop out in West L.A. Rumble is the safe has over 25 grand in it. Biggest job they've tackled.
He say how it's going to work?
Yeah, I'll fill you in on it. Thought you might want to get in touch with your office, so.
How's that?
They're going to work tonight.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this?
Chesterfield, first to give you premium quality in both regular and king size.
Chesterfield, first choice of young America. From a survey of 274 leading colleges and universities.
Chesterfield, first to give you this report.
A doctor has been making thorough examinations of a group of Chesterfield smokers every 2 months for a full year. And he reports no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield. Try Chesterfield, regular or king size. Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy.
"9:32 p.m. We got the rest of the story from Leonard Scott. The plan, as he outlined it for us, was that the 4 other suspects would not meet until they were at the plant that was to be burglarized. We got in touch with the men who were following the suspects and told them what had happened. 10:07 p.m. We met with Captain Wisdom and put the operating plan into effect. It had been arranged that all of the men following the suspects would be in 3-way radio cars so that constant communication could be kept between the units of the operation. Additional officers were planted on the roofs of the buildings surrounding the plant to be burglarized. These men would be equipped with walkie-talkies so they could keep in constant touch with each other and with us in a 3-way radio car. In this way, we could direct operations, and we'd have a complete picture of what was happening in the immediate vicinity. A blockade system was set up to be put into operation once the suspects had entered the trap so that escape would be impossible. 11:45 p.m. The plan was completed, and the men involved were in their assigned positions. We followed Leonard Scott to his rooming house, and he changed to his working clothes. He came out of his house, and we followed him out the freeway to Hollywood. From there, he drove out Sunset Boulevard to Whittier Drive in Beverly Hills, and then he went out Wilshire Boulevard toward West L.A. As we drove, we could hear the other units reporting the position of the men that they were following. All of the suspects left their homes at approximately the same time, and it looked as if they would get to the plant within a couple of minutes of the scheduled time. Scott had told us that they would not meet at the plant, but they'd rendezvous at a drive-in a couple of blocks from the plant. There, they would be given their instructions. 2:16 a.m., the 5 cars pulled into the drive-in, and after a brief conversation, they all left and drove toward the plant. 2:23 a.m., all the police units got into their positions as arranged. Frank and I took up our position, and we listened to the reports coming in over the radio.
Unit 1 KY80, Unit 1 KY80, Rubles, come in.
Unit 1 KY80 to Rubles, go ahead.
I'm on the roof of the building directly across the street from the factory, Joe. I can see the suspects now.
How many of them are there?
I can see 3. I think there's a couple more at the corner as lookouts. Hey, Donovan's down the block. Maybe he can see the others.
Unit 1 KY80 to Donovan. Come in, please. Over.
This is Donovan. Yeah, there's one of them on the corner down here. He drove up and got out to take a look at the motor of his car. He's over there working on it now.
This Rubles, I can see another one at the other corner. He's changing a tire. Got the jack under the car, but he's not trying to get the wheel off. The others are at the factory door now. Do you see anything where you are, Joe?
Not much. Shadows across the street. I can't see the doorway. What are they doing now?
They're inside now. They forced the lock on the door and got inside. Door's closed. Now, I can't see him anymore, Joe.
All units, this is Friday in Unit 1KY80. All units move in to apprehend suspects. Repeat, move in to apprehend suspects. Units 2R4, 5, 6, and 7, and Unit 2R20 move to blockade positions. All right, let's go.
Right.
They got the place covered in back, okay?
Yeah, all covered.
All right. This ought to do it, huh?
Right.
All right, let's go.
Yeah. Well, I got the lookout.
Yeah, I see. Well, let's take it easy, huh? See him?
No. There's a light back there. Looks like the office.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
All of them must be back there. Sounds like they're putting the bar into the back of the safe, doesn't it?
Yeah. Rubles?
All right, let's go.
They're in the office now. You want to move in from that side?
Right.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Come on, get on it. We haven't got all night. That safe's built like a sardine can. There's no reason to take this long.
We're doing the best we can. We got the 10 on fire bricks giving us trouble.
Here, let me take a look.
All right, hold it right where you are.
Cops, let's get out of here.
Watch him, Joe. I'll get him. Right. Come on, Ramsey. You got no place to go. The building's surrounded.
Back here, Joe.
Get out of here, cops. You're never going to take us.
Hold it up. Don't shoot anymore. I give up.
Come on, cops. Come on and get it.
He ain't talking for me. I've had it. I don't want any more shooting. I give up.
All right, throw your guns out here.
It's mine.
All right. Come on out of there. Get over there. Get your hands back of your head.
Stand right there and don't move.
I gave up, didn't I? I didn't want any more of it.
Come on, Ramsey. Your partner was smart. Why don't you play it that way, too?
You come and get me, cops. All right. You win. I'm out of shells. Don't shoot.
Throw that gun out here. All right, now come on out of there. Keep your hands back of your head. Come on, move. That's good right there.
All right.
Come on, Ramsey. Over there next to your partner. Now stand still, both of you. Put your hands against the wall.
Stand still or don't move.
All right, they're clean, Joe.
All right. There were three of them. Where's the other one?
I made a break for the front door. They got him out there.
Lousy luck all the way around. How'd you know? Who told you?
That doesn't make any difference.
Well, somebody had to tell you. You'd never find out if somebody hadn't told you.
Yeah, that's right. Come on, let's go now.
Well, who told you? Who turned Fink? Somebody had to tell you, didn't
Well,
he?
don't you worry about it, mister.
What do you mean?
You're going to have a lot of time to figure it out. Now, let's go.
The story you've just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 14th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. I'd like to talk to you people who don't smoke Chesterfields. I'm convinced that if you try just one carton, you'll find that they're best for you. They're milder, and they have a wonderful taste. But most important, they have premium quality in both sizes, regular or king size. So pick up that carton, will you? Chesterfields. Try them.
Howard Allen, Ramsey, Jack Irwin MacArthur, and the other two suspects were tried and convicted of 15 counts of burglary in the first degree. They received sentences as prescribed by law. Burglary in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 5 years. Because of his cooperation, Leonard James Scott was given a lighter sentence, and at the conclusion of his prison term was placed on probation for a period of 2 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, we wish to thank the editors of TV Guide for the cover picture and story on Dragnet. You can get TV Guide at your favorite newsstand.
just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Olin Soule, Vic Perrin, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show, Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfields. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfields much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Now, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for natural filtering. Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. So remember, new Fatima has the tip for your lips. Fatima. See how smooth they are.
Remember, Fatima is made by the makers of Chesterfield, Liggett & Myers, one of tobacco's most respected names. Sound off for Chesterfield. Chesterfield is best for you. First cigarette with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you're about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. You get a call from the San Diego Police Department that 3 hold-up men are thought to be heading for your city. You know they're armed. You know they're dangerous. Your job, get them.
Years ahead of them all.
Chesterfield is years ahead of them all.
The quality contrast between Chesterfield and other leading brands is a revealing story.
Recent chemical analyses give an index of good quality for the country's 6 leading cigarette brands. The index of good quality table, which is a ratio of high sugar to low nicotine, shows Chesterfield quality highest.
Chesterfield quality highest.
15% higher than its nearest competitor.
Chesterfield quality highest.
31% higher than the average of the 5 other leading brands.
Yes, Chesterfield is first, with premium quality in both regular and king size.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, October 5th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Gillian. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 4:58 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery. Hi, Murph. Seen Frank?
Yeah, he was here a couple of minutes ago. I think he went down the hall. Said he'd be right back.
Thanks. How the kids?
Well, we're in the cycle again.
What do you mean?
The cold cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Oldest boy brings one home with him, gives it to his sister. Then it goes to the baby, then to the wife, and then to me. By the time I got it, the oldest boy's ready to catch it again from me. Doesn't seem to be any end to it.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Reading the other day where if you take care of a cold, take a lot of pills, stay in bed, you can shake it in a week.
All right.
Don't do anything special for it, and it'll take 7 days to get rid of it. Joe?
Got an APB here from San Diego. Boys down there really drew themselves a gem.
Yeah, can I take a look?
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. I can hear him moan all the way from here.
What is it?
Well, I had a jewel robbery at a hotel on the coast. 3 men took $135,000 in jewels and at least $15,000 in cash.
$150,000, huh? Any leads on them?
No, APB gives a description, list of the stolen jewelry. That's about all.
When did it happen?
It says 1:30 this morning.
Yeah, it's going to keep him busy for a while. Bet Mort's screaming like an eagle, Joe.
Why?
Well, I talked to him last week. Said he was going down to Mexico to do some fishing. Been saving days off for the last 3 months. Won't get to go now.
Yeah, I get it. Robbery Friday. Yeah, go ahead. San Diego.
Huh?
Yeah, hi, Mort. Yeah, we got the APB. How's it going? Yeah. Uh-huh. When do you figure they left? Yeah. Okay, Mort, yeah. All right, we'll keep an eye open. Right. Bye.
What's he got?
Oh, Davis, Walk, and Hewen are coming up.
They're driving?
Yeah, they figure the hold-up men are heading this way. The early editions of the afternoon papers came out, and they carried the complete story. 3 men had entered the Carlton Surf Hotel at 1:30 a.m. All 3 were armed, and they forced the manager to open the safe. Inside the vault were the jewels and the other valuables that had been deposited with the management for safekeeping by the guests. After looting the safe, the 3 men had robbed 5 of the guests who had entered the lobby during the time that they'd been going through the safe. After taking all the money and valuables they could find, the 3 men forced the manager and the guests into a back storeroom of the hotel, and they locked them in. None of the victims could tell the San Diego officers what kind of a car had been used, but all of them were able to give good descriptions of the 3 men. The San Diego Police Department had been called, and the men from the Detective Bureau had begun an immediate investigation. From the phone conversation I'd had with Lieutenant Mort Gear, they had evidence to believe that the 3 men were heading up for Los Angeles. While the 3 detectives from the San Diego Department came to L.A., Lieutenant Gear, Sergeant Tony McGuire would continue the investigation down in their city. 11:12 p.m. Sergeants Carl Davis, Jerry Walk, and Pappy Hewen arrived at the city hall. They filled us in on what had happened.
The way the thing looked, it figured that someone who had either worked for the hotel or was working for it had engineered it.
How'd that check out?
The identification we got?
Yeah.
Virgil Russell worked for the hotel a year ago as a busboy in the dining room. All the victims gave a positive identification on him.
How about the other 2, Carl?
Nothing on him yet.
What made you figure they might be coming up here?
Well, Russell's got a record, checked his package, and found that he has a sister in San Diego. Checked her, and she gave us a lead.
Yeah.
Said her brother and 2 men came by the house early this morning. Her brother's been staying with her the past few weeks. Anyway, he came by this morning, packed his clothes, said he had to come up to L.A. on business.
Well, she have an address up here for him, Carl?
Not good. Said he told her he'd get in touch with her. He was staying with a friend place out on Olympic Boulevard.
Anything on that address?
Yeah, our package gave an address out there. Russell had listed a friend of his when he was arrested. We figured he might be out there. Got a good description of the car. One thing is going to help.
Yeah.
Sister told us that she asked her brother about the other 2 men. Wanted to know if they didn't want to come to the house. Mm-hmm. Russell said no, they were waiting for him. If the 3 of them were in a hurry, she couldn't give us a description of the other 2.
Well, what time this happened?
About 5:30 this morning.
Well, they came right up here. They'd get in about 8 then, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You're pretty sure that these are the right ones now?
Looks like that. Identification of the mugs. Russell's sister told us when he was packing, a brooch fell out of his grip. She picked it up for him.
You have a description of it?
Yeah, matches one that was taken from the hotel in the theft. Large diamond with 4 rubies in the setting. Looked real good for the job.
Did you get a broadcast out on the car?
Yeah, Russell's sister told us it's a 53 Nash, red and black Continental hookup. She said Russell just got back from a trip through Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico. Said that he had the rear window covered with those stickers. You know, the ones they get from gas stations.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Window's supposed to be covered with them. Shouldn't be hard to spot.
Well, maybe he figures that, too. Might have them taken off, huh?
Possible. It's a lead, though. Something else to look out for.
Any chance he might have gotten across the border into Mexico?
Yeah, it's possible, but it isn't likely. As soon as we got word on the car, we got out a supplemental APB on it and got in touch with the authorities down the border. They said they hadn't seen a car that matched the description across the border.
Well, if they'd gotten to the border, the officers down there'd know about it anyway.
Yeah, I talked to Al Gayton from our office. He said they'd be on the lookout for him.
Our pawn shop detail got right on it, Carl. We got the description of the jewelry out all over town. We haven't had any reports on it yet, though.
They aren't going to try to sell it piece by piece. There's too many of those pieces are easy to recognize.
Yeah.
They'll probably try to peddle through a fence and have it broken up.
Well, we'll get the word out to our informants. Ask them to watch out for it.
Yeah. Heist that big can't be kept quiet for long. Bound to be rumbles on it someplace.
I'd like to check out the place on Olympic. It looks like it's the best lead we got.
Okay. We're walking here, you know.
Went down the hall with Murphy. Wanted to check some things at R&I.
Well, might as well get on out to Olympic, huh? You got the address?
Yeah, you better check the place first. Could be rough.
What do you mean?
Well, all 3 of them are armed. Russell served time twice before at the joint.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to want to go back.
We checked the name of Russell's friend through our files. We found that he had no record. We drove out to the address on Olympic and we talked with the neighbors. From them, we found out that it was not a private residence. We talked to the woman who lived next door. We asked her about the man listed in the San Diego package as a friend of the suspects. She told us she hadn't seen him. Directly in front of the rooming house, we found a car answering the description given us by the sister. There were no lights on in the rooming house. Walk and Hewen covered the rear of the place. Frank, Carl Davis, and I went up to the front door.
Pretty dark. I can't see anybody in there, can you?
No, I can't.
Check the window, see if I can spot anything.
Right, Carl.
Well, let's try the door.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Come on, open up.
Beat it. Nobody gets in here.
All right, Frank, let's hit it. All right, stand right where you are. Hold on.
I'm not doing anything. What are you doing breaking in
Get
here
your
like
hands out
this?
front of you.
Sure.
I'll shake him, Joe. He's clean.
Everything okay?
Yeah, Carl.
I'll get Walk and Hewen.
Who else in the house?
Nobody but the landlady. She's upstairs. Her and her daughter. Nobody else here.
What's your name?
Pete Ellis.
Where's Russell?
I don't know any Russell.
All right, we'll look around. Come on. What's in there?
Dining room. There ain't nothing in there.
Open it up.
See? Nobody here.
No. All right, we'll check the other rooms. Where's this door go?
Bedroom. Ain't nobody in there.
Open it up.
Joe, nobody in the kitchen. Check the back porch. Walk and Davis are upstairs.
All right, we'll try this one here. Come on, you open it up.
It's locked. I can't get in.
There's a key in the door over here. Let's see if it fits.
Virgil! Virgil! Get out! Virgil, it's the cops! Get out!
All right, get out of the way, you. Come on, let's hit it. Get
On the bed, Joe.
I see. All right, come on, you out of that bed.
Hey, Joe?
Yeah?
There's a bottle of sleeping pills on the table here.
Yeah, an empty bottle of whiskey. I guess he's dead drunk.
Upstairs is clean, Joe. Russell, huh?
Yeah, he's drunk. I guess we're pretty lucky. Under his pillow there?
Yeah.
3 guns. With the suspects in custody, we searched the house. In the back bedroom, where we'd found Virgil Russell, we found a folder with all of the newspaper stories of the hotel robbery. In each instance, that portion of the story which referred to the thieves themselves was outlined in pencil, and there were small notations along the margins of the newspaper. A complete search of the house netted us nothing. There was no sign of the loot from the robbery, although each of the suspects had a large amount of money in their possession. We talked to the landlady, but she was unable to tell us anything about the suspects. She said that she had rented a room to Peter Ellis over a year before, and that the suspect had moved out after living in the house for only 2 months. She said that she hadn't seen them again since that night when they arrived at the house and asked for rooms. We called the office and arranged for a stakeout on the place, and we took the 2 suspects back to the office. We ran Peter Ellis through R&I, and we found that he had 1 previous conviction on a robbery charge. 2:15 a.m. We talked to Virgil Russell in the interrogation room.
All right. I ain't trying to con you into anything. I was in on the heist, I'll admit it, but I ain't going to be no fink. You ain't going to get any other names out of me.
You got the money we found on you from that hotel robbery, is that right?
I don't know where else it'd come from. I got no reason to con you about the hotel job. I pulled it. I ain't afraid to admit it. I'm just not turning fink, that's all.
Maybe we can get it out of Ellis.
He won't tell you anything.
You're pretty sure about that. He admits he was in on the robbery.
Well, so what? We all had a deal. If any of us got caught, they wouldn't tell about the others.
You think Ellis and that other guy'd go that route, standing the arrest alone?
Sure. We had an agreement.
Oh, come on now. Tell us how much you got for the jewels. You can tell us that and not tell us who the other man is, can't you?
Yeah, I suppose so. Isn't any way you could tell if I told you how much we got?
How much?
7,000.
How much?
7,000.
Who set up the deal to sell the stuff? Your partner?
Yeah, he handled all that.
He fixed it for you to get $7,000 for all the jewelry?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you made a good deal, all right. 7,000 for $135,000 worth of jewelry.
Wasn't worth 135. That's just the papers, making it sound big.
No, Russell, you're wrong. That's what the stuff is worth.
Are you kidding?
You got that report, Frank?
Yeah.
Now, wait a minute. That's maybe what they claim the stuff is worth. But you know how people are always jacking things up on the insurance companies. The stuff was worth, well, maybe $15,000, not a cent more.
Yeah, Joe, here it is.
This is a report you got from the insurance company, Carl?
That's it.
Would you like to read it yourself, Russell, or do you want me to read it to you?
Well, let me see. lousy bum. Oh, no good. He's a thief, that's what he is. A thieving thief.
That's the kind of a guy you say you had to deal with, huh? But you think he was doing you a big favor. Some deal, $7,000.
If we'd picked him up, he'd have screamed like an eagle.
He's your pal, all right.
A no good thief. I can't believe it.
Who'd he sell his stuff to, do you know?
No, I don't, and that's the truth. I saw the guy, but I don't know who it was.
How'd the deal work?
Earlier tonight, we got together out in Westwood. He called the fellow who was going to handle the deal, told him to meet us there.
Who's he?
A lousy Fink.
What's his name?
Payne, Al Payne.
How do you spell it? Last name?
P-A-Y-N-E.
You got a record?
No, I don't think so. I never heard him talk about it.
You give us a description?
Yeah. That stuff was really worth $135,000. He said it was a lot of talk, newspaper talk, he said. Oh, brother, what a laugh.
What's his Payne look like?
Oh, he's about 37, maybe 150, 60 pounds. Bald. A little bit of hair on the edge of his head.
I'll check the name through R&I, Joe.
Right. You want to bring the mugs back here?
Yeah. Russell?
Yeah?
That first name, is it Alfred or Albert?
I think it's Albert. He's some kind of a promoter. I don't know what he promotes. I think it's just a dodge, kind of a front.
I'll be right back, sir.
Right. Let's go ahead with the story about the buy, huh?
All right. Well, where was I?
You said you went out to Westwood.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were supposed to meet out in the parking lot for the ice rink. Big place out there. Well, we met this guy, the fellow Payne called it. He looked at the stuff, said it was worth maybe $15,000 the way it was. But he said it had to be broken down before it could be sold. That it wouldn't bring that much when it was all broken down.
What'd Al say to that?
Well, he agreed to it, said it was true. He went right along with it. Lousy deal. He was probably in on the whole thing.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I just can't get over it. We had all that stuff and didn't know what it was worth.
You got any idea who this guy is?
No, I told you. I didn't know.
You said this Payne had an office here in town. You know where it is?
Yeah, I can show you. We were up there this afternoon while I was setting up the deal. It's in a building over on 6th.
You'd be willing to go over there with us?
So you can nail him?
That's right. We want to get the jewels back.
Sure, I'll go. So what that bum did to me, nothing too bad for him.
How you going to work it, Joe?
Well, Russell here will have to introduce me as somebody who wants to buy this stuff. He'll have to tell Payne that I'm willing to pay, say, $50,000 for the jewelry. That way, Payne will have to get in touch with the other man. I don't think he'll pass up a deal like that.
Maybe he figures to make more than that this way.
Yeah, but suppose he thinks that Russell here wants to do business with me. He'll get the stuff back. I don't think he'll want to cross Russell.
Might work.
No, we haven't got much choice. We got to get the stuff back before it's broken up.
Joe, I got some pictures here. None of them match the description.
What was that?
None of them match the description.
Oh. You want to look at these?
Yeah.
Joe's going to go see this Payne with Russell and Ellis, try to get a lead on where the stuff is.
How are you going to work it?
Well, I'll tell Payne I'm interested in buying the jewels, offer him maybe $50,000.
Picture's not here. None of these is Payne.
You go along with this plan, Russell?
Sure. I'd like to see you get him and get him good.
It's pretty risky.
It doesn't look like there's any other way.
Suppose not. Russell?
Yeah?
We know Payne carries a gun. I'm going to tell you something. I want you to remember it.
All right.
You get any bright ideas about tipping Payne off about Joe, remember, we'll have men all through the building.
All right.
We're not going to start any shooting.
Yeah.
But we'll finish it.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Chesterfield is best for you. Just listen to the record.
For a full year and 2 months, a doctor has been making regular examinations of a group of Chesterfield smokers, and he reports no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfields.
Don't you want to try a cigarette with a record like this? Chesterfield. First with premium quality in both regular and king size. Chesterfield. First choice with Young America. And that's from a survey of 274 colleges and universities. Try Chesterfields today. Remember, Chesterfield is America's best cigarette buy.
The two suspects, Peter Ellis and Virgil Russell, were taken to the main jail and booked in for violation of Section 211 of the California Penal Code. After that, the officers from San Diego, Frank and I, discussed the plan for finding the stolen jewels. It was agreed that I would go into the office building with the suspect, Virgil Russell. To lessen the chances of discovery, I would carry no gun or any police identification. We were unable to make contact that night, so the following morning, we checked over the physical layout of the building. It was 6 stories high and had 1 elevator. There were 2 entrances to the building, one in the front and one that opened off an alley in the rear. Officers were planted at both entrances. Additional men were stationed on each floor. 2 men were on the roof to cut off any possible escape to one of the adjoining buildings. 11:30 a.m. Tuesday, October 6th. Russell called Payne and said that he wanted to see him. Payne told him to come right over to the office. Russell and I got into a car and we drove over. It had been arranged that from the time we entered the building, no one would be permitted to leave until we returned to the main entrance. 11:58 a.m. We got to the office building. We went up to the 4th floor. The sign on Payne's door read, Albert Payne, Investments. Russell opened the door and we walked in.
Hi, Verge. What's the bet?
Al, like you to meet Joe Ferguson.
Joe, glad to meet you.
Yeah, same here, Al.
Sit down, boys. Now, what's this all about?
It's about the stuff, Al. We got to get it back.
Now, what's the pitch? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, come off it, Payne. Joe here's willing to up the ante for the jewels.
How much?
I'll go as high as 50,000. I got to see it first.
For 15,000 worth of jewels?
Papers say it's worth 135.
I explained that to you. They up the value. It's all insured. People up the price of the insurance companies. Papers up the price. They sell more papers. I told you.
Yeah, and I ain't buying it. I want the stuff back. I never even got my cut of the 7,000. Ellis feels the same way.
I told you the money'd be coming.
Well, it ain't coming anymore. I want the stuff back.
I don't think we can do that. Most of it's already broken up.
No, not much of it could be broken up in the time that he's had it.
Guy that bought it isn't going to like it.
Well, that's tough. You just tell him to stop breaking it up. Tell him we want it back.
Where do you figure to sell the jewels?
I don't see where that concerns you. I'm offering you 50,000 for them. That's all you need to know.
Come on, Al. Come on. Quit playing games. Let's get on it. You get in touch with the guy you gave them to and get the jewels back.
Wait a minute, I got something to say about this. I was in on the job with you. Don't you forget it.
I'm only going to say this once more, Payne. You get on that phone and get in touch with your contact. Tell him to stop breaking them up. You set up a meet to get the stuff back.
I'll call him. I don't think it's going to do any good. He's probably got all the mountings melted down by this time. Get it all broken up.
You call him. Let's see what happens.
All right. Now, let me talk to Fred. Fred, it's Al. Yeah. Listen, something's come up. We can't go through with the deal. What? Yeah, I know. I told him. Doesn't make any difference. They want it all back. Yeah, I told him that, too. Doesn't make any difference. You want the jewels back that have been broken down, too?
I told you, Al. I want all of it back.
Yeah. Yeah, Fred, he says all of it. Okay. And when can you make it? Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll see you then, right. Okay, bye. They'll have the stuff for you tomorrow night.
Why does he have to wait that long?
How do I know? He just said he couldn't get it to you any sooner.
You should have let me talk to him. I'd have told him.
Yeah, sure.
How much of it's been broken up?
Well, hardly any. Just got started. Fred says it's almost all whole.
Who is this Fred?
That's none of your business.
I asked you a question, Al.
You got your answer. Doesn't make any difference who he is. You and your friends lost up the deal. Be happy. You fixed it fine.
Well, I'll come out better.
Yeah, you better be right. Now, remember, I got a piece of this.
I won't forget. What time tomorrow are we going to meet Fred?
Well, he said he'd call. Let me know where and when.
Well, it can't be any later than tomorrow. I got to be leaving then.
You're going to have the money with you when you pick up the stuff.
I'll have it.
All of it. I don't want any of this down payment.
I told you I'd have it.
All right, you call me tomorrow about 10, Verge. I'll let you know the details then.
Okay.
I hope you're right about this, Verge.
What do you mean?
Well, this deal, I don't like it. I hope nothing happens to louse it up.
Yeah, so do I. Virgil, Russell, and I left the office and went downstairs. We checked with Frank, Carl Davis, and the other officers from San Diego. Al Payne was taken into custody and booked in at the main jail on suspicion of violation of Section 211 PC. Then we returned to the office.
You find out who has the stuff?
Yeah, a fellow named Fred.
You know who he is?
No, not yet, but we will.
How'd you figure that? Payne didn't tell you.
Well, I saw the number he dialed when he called Fred. It was a Hollywood prefix. That narrows down the area. I can try the number and see who answers. Oh, I'm sorry. I got the wrong number. Excuse me.
Did you get it?
Yeah. It's the Kingery Trophy Company. You want to check the books?
Right. K-I, King, Kincaid. Here's Joe. Kingery Trophy Company. It's on Las Palmas.
Trophy company. That'd give them a chance to melt the mountings down to metal, wouldn't it? Be easier to get rid of it that way.
Makes sense. What do you figure to move in on?
Right now, we can drive out and check the place now, look it over, then we'll go in and get them.
What happens with me?
We got to take you back to main jail.
After the help I gave
That's the way it's got to be. You knew that going in.
Yeah, I suppose so. Well, you tell the DA I helped, though, huh?
Yeah, we'll see he knows about it.
Sure, a bad deal all the way around. Real bad deal. I should have known I couldn't win. Right from the start, I should have known. Nobody can win.
Well, still a lot of people trying. We returned Virgil Russell to his cell, and then we drove out to the Kingery Trophy Company. It was a 2-story building on Las Palmas Avenue in Hollywood. They made trophies and fraternity pins. A large sign on the front of the building advertised that they could duplicate anything in metal. We checked with the neighborhood merchants and found that there was a permanent staff of 4 employees. The company was owned by a Roger Kingery, and none of the neighborhood people could tell us anything about an employee by the name of Fred. 5 p.m. The employees of the plant left the building. 1 man remained. From the description we'd gotten from Russell, we figured that he was the person Payne had called Fred. 6:03 p.m. The lights in the rear of the factory went on, and through the windows we could see the suspect working over a small furnace. On a table off to one side, we could see a quantity of jewelry. Frank, Carl, and I went to the side door of the plant while the other officers covered the remaining doors. All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Carl?
Yeah.
I'll hit the door and grab him before he's got the chance to throw the jewelry into the furnace.
Right.
All right.
Grab him, Carl. He's making a break for it.
I got it. Hey! What are you guys doing breaking in here like this?
Look at that, Joe. Jewelry matches the description of the stolen stuff.
Yeah, looks like it.
All right, mister, stand still.
I'll shake him. He's clean.
I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know what this is all about.
All right, save it. What's this jewelry doing here?
It isn't mine.
I didn't ask you whose it was. I asked you what it was doing here.
Fella said give me $2,500 if I break it down for him.
What's the fella's name?
Guy named Payne said he'd pay me to melt it down for him.
You know the stuff was stolen?
No, I didn't. He just made the deal to melt it down.
Didn't he call you this afternoon and tell you to stop breaking it up?
Yeah, and then he called back and told me not to pay attention to what he said. Go ahead with the job. I did like he said.
Who else is in this with you?
What do you mean?
Who else here at the factory?
Nobody. I'm the only one. I only did it because I needed the money. I don't know where the jewels came from. I didn't care. It didn't make no difference to me. As long as I got mine, I was happy. I didn't know what it was all about.
Looks like most of it's here, Joe.
How many pieces did you break down?
Took a couple of the pins apart. Didn't have the time to melt any of the mounting down. It's all there. All that Payne gave me.
What's your name?
Fred Michelson.
All right, let's go.
I didn't know they were stolen. I didn't know anything about it. I just did a job. That's all. Just a job.
Yeah.
I didn't even get paid for it.
Don't worry about it. You will.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 18th, trial was held in Department 89, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of San Diego. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. I want to thank all of you for your interest in Dragnet. Thanks very much for your letters. We really appreciate them, and we'll try to keep right on giving you the kind of a show that you like. I want to thank all of you, too, who have switched to Chesterfield. I know you're going to like them, and I know you'll find they're best for you. Now, you folks who haven't tried Chesterfields, I'd like you to pick up a carton tomorrow. Chesterfield. It's a great smoke.
Virgil Nathan Russell, Peter Howard Ellis, and Albert Franklin Payne were tried and convicted of robbery in the first degree. They received sentence as prescribed by law. Fred George Michelson was tried and found guilty of receiving stolen property. He received sentence as prescribed by law. Receiving stolen property is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not more than 10 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Jack Allen, Los Angeles Police Department.
Thank you. On behalf of the Detroit Police Officers Association, I'd like to present this award to Dragnet. I wonder if you'd read it, Mr. Fenneman.
Yes, sir. Whereas the radio and television show Dragnet and its writers, producers, and actors most accurately portray the American police officers and their work. And whereas the result of this portrayal has been to give the people of this country a new insight into their police departments, bringing with it understanding, sympathy, and an aroused public opinion. And whereas Dragnet brings credit to the men and women of the police forces throughout America, therefore we, the Detroit Police Officers Association, representing the patrolmen, detectives, and policewomen of Detroit, hereby cite and commend the show Dragnet and its star Jack Webb, who plays the part of Detective Sergeant Friday, as the finest and most accurate police program, both on television and radio. Signed this date, March 31st, 1953, in behalf of the association by Thomas Duffy, President, Bruce Finney, Vice President, Francis Klein, Secretary-Treasurer.
All of us on Dragnet want to thank the Detroit Police Officers Association, and our thanks to you, Lieutenant Allen.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Eddie Firestone, Art Gilmore. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
For a million laughs, tune in Chesterfield's Martin and Lewis show Tuesday on this same NBC station. And sound off for Chesterfield's. Either regular or king size, you'll find premium quality Chesterfield's much milder. Chesterfield is best for you.
Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.